Welcome, Civ fans. We are here to showcase the latest update to Civ 7, the Test of Time update, which is launching on May 19th. We've got a whole bunch of information to share with you about that update. We're going to show you live gameplay, several hours of it, and I have some new friends that have not been on the stream with me before that I'm going to introduce you to kick us off. So let me first introduce myself, Ed Beach, the creative director of the Civ franchise. And also from the Civ development team, we have...
Hi everybody, I'm Matt Owens. I'm a lead designer on the Civ 7 team. Been working a lot on the Test of Time update that we have so far, specifically the time-tested civs and a lot of the sub-features associated with those.
And then we have two very, very special guests, Civ creators that hopefully you all already know very well, but we want you to meet them one more time. So first we have...
Hello everybody, my name's Ursa Ryan. I make a lot of Civilization content and I draw incredibly poor pictures in the lead up to Civ 7 on Reddit. Good to see you.
And also joining us from the Great North, we have...
Hello, I'm Van Bradley. I play Civ on the internet sometimes. Like you, I enjoy when Civ gets updated, so I'm excited to kind of dive in and take a look at this with you.
And we also have our community manager, Sarah, who'll be joining us from time to time to keep us on track, keep us civilized to some extent in terms of what we're doing. But we are going to be playing a multiplayer match, so it is going to get a little rough and tumble around here. And I think one thing we want to do is talk a little bit more about the update before we dive into that multiplayer match to set up exactly why we have chosen this exact format for our game. As Matt said, he worked on the Test of Time update where all the civilizations can now be played straight through from the beginning of the game to the end. I worked on some of the other updates, so I worked on the triumphs and the victory systems. We'll be showing you them in detail. We'll be going through the screens, talking about how they affect our strategies as we go through the match. So the match is set up to highlight those features, and we actually thought that that would be best in a multiplayer setting. And Sarah's going to tell us a little bit about exactly what the format's going to be for our match today.
Hello, yes, it's me coming in from the tech back rooms. Today we have a very exciting showcase because we are going to be playing 2v2 in the Antiquity Age, showing off some of these new Test of Time features. And the way that we're going to do this is actually quite fun. It's going to be dev and creator versus dev and creator. We're going to head over to picking out those teams shortly. But first, I want to make sure that we're showcasing the new trailer that we have for Test of Time and speaking to that update that's coming out on May 19th. So let's head over to that trailer first.
Complete clearance for launch. We are go.
All right, so that trailer obviously shows the broad strokes of what players can expect with Test of Time. But for our devs who are here that have worked on the update themselves, I'd love to hear from you, Matt and Ed. What are you most excited about with Test of Time, or what are some features that you're really excited to see players get their hands on?
I'm really excited because the update that we have here integrates very, very well into the existing framework of Civilization VII. It's not like we had to take away features, we didn't roll anything back. it has been seamlessly integrated. So you still go through the game in our ages structure, but when you get to the point in time where you're finished an age, wrapping it up, going to the next stage, you get this fun choice as to who you want to move on to, or maybe you don't want to move on to. So I'll let Matt talk a little bit about how that works and the theory behind that, and then I can talk about some of the other features afterwards.
Sure, yeah. Like Ed said, we wanted to make sure that we were not taking anything away from the core Civ 7 experience. There's something very unique about Civ 7 that we feel like is special and strong that we want to make sure wasn't diminished with the Test of Time update, where we're letting you get to play through as much of the game as possible with the Civ of your choosing. So basically, what we wanted to do was take all of the Civs in the game, and rather than have them sequestered to their respective ages, you now can play as America in Antiquity. You can play as Rome throughout all the ages from Antiquity to Modern. You can still mix and match to your heart's content. So that fun Civ switching that a lot of people had fun with, that opened up options, is still there if you want to. The important thing for us was to inject a sense of agency back into the game. We wanted to make sure that it felt like you were the one choosing whether or not you wanted your Civ to weather the trials or to change and adapt in new ways. We've got a little bit of that even if you choose to continue to carry on as the Civ that you are, with systems like syncretism, which will allow you to adopt pieces of other Civ's kit, even if you're staying as, say, Rome into the Exploration Age. You can borrow the Spanish tercios and have fun trying to find new mixing and matching potentials, new combinatorics that are now possible only through this update.
And one thing that's really exciting is you'll notice this update and the impact of it right away when you start up a game. And we actually have the Create Game screen loaded up. And I think just taking a quick peek at that gives you a really good sense of how the possibility space for what your Civ 7 campaign can be all about has it's tripled to some extent, but it's really even wider with all the different pathways that you can go through the game. So I'll let Matt talk a little bit more about the Create Game screen so we can look at that.
Yeah, so taking a look here, we've already selected our leader. We've got Ada Lovelace already queued up, and she's got her own recommendations. Even though we're starting in the Antiquity Age, you can see her top recommendation is actually still Great Britain. But she also has quite a few other recommendations for her, things from the Antiquity Age, to the Exploration Age, to the Modern Age. But say you don't want to go by any of those recommendations, you have the absolute freedom to go and pick and choose any Civ you like to start and play through potentially the entire game. Everything from Antiquity to Exploration to Modern, the choice is yours. We wanted to make sure that you still had a little bit of direction in terms of not being completely overwhelmed with options, which is why we wanted to give these clear recommendations for people, especially associated with a historical Civ. Great Britain matching with Ada Lovelace quite nicely. But once you dig in, you'll see just how much we've expanded it. Not just the visuals of the new Civ selection screen, which I think has come along pretty nicely since we began work on it quite a few months ago now. But you can see all the information of how your Civ is going to evolve throughout the ages. Some of your abilities might change and be increased over the ages, and certainly the things that you'll have access to within your respective ages, like the Modern Age buildings that Great Britain will have access to, are all laid out here. And so you can see that once you get to that Modern Age, you'll have access to those. But of course, when you don't have access to these, that's when you'll have access to those tools like syncretism that will make up for some of that lack of strength to make sure that you are still on even footing with people at the height of their power.
And we're going to be explicitly demonstrating that in the game that we're playing, because we're going to be playing some of those non-Apex Civs, not at the height of our power, but still showing how much fun the game is even in that mode.
Absolutely.
And then I think the last thing we want to say is that some people are wondering, well, what's this update for me? I already liked Civ 7. Civ switching was fine with me. Why do I care about the update? But there are huge updates in other parts of the game. We've restructured the way you make progression through the game towards the victories, both with what you're doing from age to age with our new triumph system, and then the way the victories are structured at the end of the game. And we've also updated the UI in so many places, and new map types, all sorts of new content for people as well.
So I know as we look through these screens, these are not new screens for Van Bradley and Ursa Ryan, who have been in our workshop, our Firaxis feature workshop, which is similar to an early testing grounds that we've utilized to get info and impressions from the Civ community on these features as they're being developed. So we were lucky enough to have these two creators join us in that workshop. I'm so curious about your impressions before we even jump into the build of Test of Time as well, having played it yourself.
Well, for me, it's been a fantastic increase in the amount of variants and options you have playing through the game. You've obviously had Civilization VII for a while now, and it's been fun with the options going through Antiquity and Exploration and Modern. But we had about 12, 13 options in every age to this point. So once you played the game a few times, there was a certain amount of repeating and seeing the same things pop up and up. But we've now gone from that to having over 40 options thereabouts in any age in the game. And even civs that are played outside of their usual ages, they have updated abilities, some of which can be incredibly interesting. As we've seen already in the workshop, there are some combinations that are very nicely spec'd. So it's been fun to find and pick through the ones that just stand out as being quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think one of the coolest things about this update was the iterative process. Like, it was really cool just as a player and as a fan to get in there with the workshops, to test the build, and to see how it progressed over time. With the Test of Time update, I really enjoy that there is something there for everybody, whether you're someone who really wanted to be able to play as one civilization throughout the entire game, whether you're someone who wanted a replacement for the legacy path system, whether you're someone who's having a great time and just wanted some UI upgrades or some new screens to make things a little more clear for you. Anyone can hop into this update and have a really great time. And separately from that, especially when it comes to the civ switching or staying as the same civ, and the features like syncretism, one of my big takeaways from the testing rounds was, oh, this is way cooler than I expected it to be. Not only getting those features in the game, but getting them in done really well and in a way that's really fun to play and interact with has been really rewarding. So I'm just super excited to dive in again to the finalized version of this whole journey we've been on and see what's in there for us to play around with.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, without a doubt, I think since launch, we're comfortable in saying this is the largest update that we have had to Civ 7 by far. So there's a lot to dig into, and we could probably explain things all day, but maybe the best way to show off these features is to really show them off in a 2v2 multiplayer game. So I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit about how the game is going to work. We are going to be starting in the Antiquity Age. We're going to be playing on a Pangea map, which is a map that has been out for a while, but just is so good for 2v2 games like this. We want to make sure that there's a lot of gameplay happening between you guys. We're doing something a little fun. Since we have a smaller live stream room, we're going to have just two human people playing against each other at a time. But you're going to be on teams, and we're going to have you swap with each other. The way the swaps work is every 10 turns maximum, you have to swap. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what you're doing, doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a war, get ready to swap. However, you can also opt to swap with each other earlier. So for example, if Matt and Ursa are on a team together, Ursa can just pass the computer over to Matt at any point. So you can see there might be a lot of chaos, there might be a lot of teamwork, hopefully all of the above. It'll be an interesting game. Since we have a limited amount of time and Civ games can go on for a bit longer than we have allotted for, instead of it being winner to victory, it's going to be based on total victory points when we near the end of the 2 hours of this showcase. Any questions from our players on the gameplay rules?
I think we're good. I think whatever we don't know, we'll figure it out along the way.
Perfect. So we did do a community poll, and we actually have our 7 leader combinations already chosen by players. Those combinations are Pachacuti Inca and Ada Lovelace in Great Britain. So, Ursa, I can already see the wheels turning.
One of those does stand out.
This might be a good
I'm
choice,
sure it does,
right?
yeah.
And the way we're going to select these teams is we have a fun little bag underneath the desk. I think it's near Matt's feet. Perfect.
Such a big
Perfect.
bag.
A Civ 7 branded bag. And we're going to have Ursa, why don't we have you reach in and pull out to determine if your team time or team tested. But wait, before you read it, Team time is going to be Ed's team. Team tested is going to be Matt's team. So let's see what we get.
Okay, I have team tested.
Team tested.
you
All
go.
right.
All right.
So it is going to be Matt and Ursa versus Van Bradley and Ed.
Perfect.
And
Don't have
Ursa,
to get up and move around.
it all works out. Ursa, I think it only makes sense for you to be playing as Ada and Great Britain if that works for you
I
guys.
will do what I can.
All right. And then we'll have Ed and Van Bradley be Pachacuti and Inca. So I think we have the game loaded up. And with that, let the games commence.
Perfect. Am I allowed to suggest team names? I'd like to be Team Sunset for what we're about to do to the British Empire. I just really think that'd be a good flavor.
Now we're talking. Now, this start, I have to say, is what I would consider to be a fantastic English-British start. We've got a nice section of coast along to the right of us. We've got this lovely lake, and we've got a navigable river, which all plays into our abilities very nicely. We're playing as Britain, which is a modern age civ. So this is one of the examples of bringing a civ outside of their usual age. And we have a whole host of things. We are able to build and buy buildings in at a little bit of a discount, effectively. We're not so good with cities. We like to keep towns, which as a Brit is very fair. And we also
You
get
like
a little
one
bit
big city.
like one big city, one ginormous unequal city. And we have one science on active buildings adjacent to the coast. And that we'll have to be a little bit careful of because that's not a lake or a navigable river.
Very good
as far
point.
as I'm aware, it is just the coast. So I think we want to maximize our space. What I'm hoping is that Inca doesn't have a large mountain settle.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was very eloquent. That was a great exploration of everything. We're playing as the Inca. We have a lot of mountains, and I'm happy that we have a lot of mountains. If you take a look at our abilities here, they're all very mountain focused. We want to get buildings next to mountains. We want to get our specialists in there. We want to have a good time. We want to convert our food into production in our cities. And so we're looking to utilize these mountains to really mess up whatever Ursa's doing over there.
How dare you?
I'm going to try to help too.
Absolutely. So the first turn is often quite simple. There's not a lot that has changed in 1.4.0 with the first turn. You're looking for a nice starting location. We've got a lot of fresh water around us, which gives us a little bit of a happiness boost. We're just going to plonk, and we'll go into the next turn.
Oh, there we
With our
go.
scout.
Look at that.
Would you like to scout the coast, or do you want to scout inland?
Ooh, let's see. How far are we, or how close are we to either one of the, I guess, most northern or southern reaches?
It looks like we are
how
closer
are
to
we
the
getting-
north.
Okay.
Slightly.
Farm.
So maybe take along
Resources.
the coast, since we are going to want to settle more coastal settlements.
Woodcutter?
For
What do you
the
think,
south.
Ed?
You
How
think
do we want
south
to
or
navigate
head
this?
that way?
But
Probably
we have the spot between two resources that would
Yeah.
be great for science
science
research.
buildings, production buildings.
Yeah, and we're going to be fine for
Yeah.
all the culture buildings that need to be
Sure.
next to mountains.
Perfect. Easy. All right. So
So-
not sailing. Let's go.
Well, see, we're
Pottery?
countering that with a sailing start. Two reasons for this.
No.
Firstly, obviously, getting the galley allows us to scout along the coast a little bit as well, which is very nice.
Oh, animal husbandry.
The harbour is a
Yeah,
good
that's
building
fine.
because it makes our fishing boats a little bit more productive. But there is the secret Ursa technique, which is goody hut spawn. There are an alarming number of goody huts that spawn at sea, and I have found opening with
Oh,
sailing
clever.
unlocks
Yeah.
a lot quicker.
Very
so
smart.
we're doubling that up with
like it.
a scout being prepared
there
in
we
our
go.
city, and we're
Ooh.
gonna just
Oh, we may or may not have some ocean here. I might steal your strategy.
And what is your preferred opening in terms of build order? I see a lot of triple scouts come in whenever you're playing.
I like to scout. I think having information
you go.
about the area you're settling
That
in,
scout.
you're
Go
looking
over.
to really
So we'll
maximize
do that with
this,
Scout
this
1 or Scout
important
2?
number.
Scout 2 can
At the
move
top,
over there.
it's the
Yeah.
Move
settlement
up here.
limit.
I got the coast.
We're looking for the place to have our second and third settlement as quickly as we can. So
Oh, well.
we want vision. Now, I'm looking at these.
Now, which resource?
Resources are good. We've got a little bit of wine. We've got
I don't
a
think
little
we
bit
need
of
the
gypsum.
camels
I
right
wanna go
away,
in
so
that
maybe
direction.
go expand
We're
towards the
gonna-
Makes
rubies.
sense to me.
And the silk will be kicking in once our culture output's higher, but it's not that
Yeah.
useful in the beginning.
And the flat gold is good. Yeah. Cool.
It's often a balance of
Oh, here we go.
You want to talk a little bit
Yeah,
about
who wants to talk
advisors?
about the advisor
So
system?
we have a new advisor system. We had the 4 advisors in the game from the beginning, but now the advisor system is set up so players wanting to learn about a specific part of the game, we recommend that they pick one advisor for each of their games to follow. That advisor will be providing you not only how to win that particular victory, that type of advice, but just advice about like sound scientific gameplay throughout the ages. I think we're going to each pick a different advisor so that we can kind of show off the different abilities. So VB, do you want to choose one?
Yeah, if we have to pick different ones, I might actually strategize. I wouldn't mind the military advisor. Anyone who can help me destroy whatever's happening over there is going to be. And if it blocks them from picking that, that'd be good. But I like some military advice. You never know. I have a funny feeling war might be on the horizon, so we'll follow the military advisor.
Whereas I'm thinking perhaps we lean into Britain's science focus.
Both Ada and GB, for sure.
Well, exactly. We've got a combination, a synergy there that I think would be quite good.
Let's do it.
And not only will the advisor that you follow come to you with messages, but there is an advisor council screen you can go to at any time, and all 4 of the advisors will have relevant information for you based on where you are within your game session to focus you in the cultural direction or whatever next step you might want to take in that part of your game.
And previously, the advisors were very tied into the legacy path system. I don't want to front load information too much, but at some point we will want to talk about how we've evolved the victories and the triumphs that go along with those.
Well, yeah, it's one of the coolest new parts and what we're using for our victories today as well. So we're definitely have to hop in and figure out who's winning this one.
So we have an independent power below us, and as you can
lucky
see
dogs.
Very friendly.
by the red, they're not very friendly. They are going to be a bit of a problem. So as we expand, and especially we've got this mountain range blocking a lot of the coast that we were potentially looking to settle on. We've got to be a little bit careful of being choked up between these two forces.
We won't tell them what we just found.
No. Bit of a blessing, bit of a curse on this map.
Keep your secrets.
Yeah, having mountains is really nice, especially when you need them for strategy. It's not exactly great for navigating the map, though, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of work to carve out
I believe
an
we
empire.
can walk right over the cool new thing that we just found there.
So what we're going to do now is a little bit of strategizing. So we want to settle, and we want to settle as wide as we can, as quickly as we can to, we're Britain. The land is ours by right. So we want settlers, but we can't have settlers until we have 5 population.
Of course.
Population is a combination of how many improvements you've made with growth on food, but also how many buildings you have. So we're due to get our 4th population in 2 turns. By this little symbol down there.
Not bad.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is time up let's go for a harbor, and we're going to put it on this navigable river so we can unlock all of this coastal land to build on later. Once that finishes, we should, in theory, hit 5 population as quickly as we can and get out.
Perfect. Well, Ursa is out there on the oceans trying to find those discoveries. We found one on land here, and if you're scouting around, your scout has certain abilities to help you find these discoveries, which can be very helpful. So these discoveries can provide pretty powerful bonuses early on. There's almost always a case that you want to come over and find these discoveries. We have 2 options here. Sometimes the game will take yields away from you temporarily for a greater bonus. Sometimes you can just gain a flat bonus as well if you prefer not to lose anything. I'm always a high risk, high reward. I'll lose my meager 10 gold for a turn to gain some food that helps us get to the 5 population Ursa was talking about, helps us get a settler faster, helps us expand on the map. But always be on the lookout for these. They're very, very helpful. Any ones that provide culture as well that can get you through your unique civic tree can also be very, very good early on.
And situationally, sometimes you take the other option. Like I would always go for that top risk-reward type option, but I found situations where the other one was just what I needed, just at the right time.
I'd forgot about the early expedition options too. Now, how do we want to go through?
Yeah, so this is a good example of Inca in the test of time mode. So our Apex Age is exploration. Inca at the beginning of the game, even in a previous Civ title, like Civ 5 or Civ 6, you wouldn't really have anything going on for you at the beginning of the game. But what we've done is we've taken that core Inca identity from its Apex Age and spread it out so that there's sort of echoes of it in the other ages. They're not quite as strong as they are at the Apex Age. But the example here is we can work mountain tiles. Nobody else can work mountain tiles in the Antiquity Age. And that's a 4-year-old tile, so all of a sudden it's becoming an attractive option for us.
And to production, which is very helpful for us as well. I think I'm going to move out towards some of the resources for now, just to collect those. But it's good to know that we have that
And we
early
have that
option.
whole range of mountains that we can do that with.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas we know we've got the common sense to realize why would you work a mountain when you can, of course, own the sea. So
Right.
that's what we're heading towards now. So we're in a nice spot. We've got our triple scouts. One is heading to the north, one is going to be heading over to the west, and one is trying not to die, which is often what happens. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass over. So I think I've set up a good start.
Thank you
we
so
should
much.
be ready
All
to
right, I'll finish up
get
my
those
turn
settles
here.
out soon. And as
Sorry.
you can see, there is a goodie hut out to sea.
Yes,
which we can
perfect
obtain.
timing.
All right. I want to be I'm going to go for just one more warrior here. I don't trust anyone on this map at all. And then we can, we'll go right
I think we
through.
found anyone to
Yeah.
We've made
show a lack of trust towards. But
That's true. I just, the other side
Oh,
of the desk.
now we did.
Yeah, we found our own independent power, and they are also not friendly. So perhaps it's
Yeah.
a good idea to start moving our warriors up in that direction, and just make sure they don't come too close towards us. But do you want to take over from
Sure.
here? See how we go.
Sure.
All right.
So next turn is going to offer us a little bit of an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be playing with some old mechanics and something that we're going to see for the first time in this patch 1.4.0, which is going to be, do we want to head and get something like a Pantheon or unlocking wonders through the regular Civic tree?
The army commander's there as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Or do we want to start looking at the unique British stuff?
And that's exactly the choice that we have on screen, but the same thing just sort of spun around for the Inca a little bit. So why don't we look at the Inca tree
Absolutely.
and try to make that decision on our part?
Yeah, it's one of the most fascinating choices in Civ 7 when you get to the Civics tree, because there's always those great bonuses in the normal one, but your unique bonuses are so helpful to you. It's sometimes hard to know which way to go first.
So we have a cool ability that we can slot in a tradition for food buildings receiving adjacency for mountains.
Right,
And we had
right.
some really strong.
Yeah, and we haven't put down any buildings yet, so we can really work around
Right,
that
we can-
since we have.
The food will just spill
Yeah.
down the mountains
No,
into
no,
our
yeah.
granary and fill it.
Yeah, I'm counting the runoff production numbers as
Yeah.
well. That might be helpful.
So that's tempting, but I typically always go for if I'm in a tough spot, I go for the commander right
Right.
away. But if we're just starting to reveal an independent, so I would actually have normally gone for the Pantheon here.
Yeah, the Pantheon might be a great choice.
Pantheon's a little tough because we don't want to lose access to the one that will.
Matt and Ursa, what are you guys doing over there in the tech tree?
Yeah, we're looking at the same thing.
Basically.
It is a Pantheon choice or embracing the inner Britishness, as that switch says, to expand. Our option under the British
So we're
Antiquity
not gonna build the
Civics
granary right away.
is to take settlement limit and then increase the amount of gold and science we get from settling on
Doubling
the
down
coast.
basically on our
Doubling
abilities.
down. I would say let's double down.
Let's do
we've
it.
We've got a decent sized coast. I think we've got options to play with here.
I like the sound of it.
I was just, we were just having a little chat with our neighbor Charlemagne, who has been incredibly supportive. We've been sending research
good
collaborations
friend.
either way. And I don't want to say that we have more than double your science at the moment, but I think we could probably lean into that with a bit of classic despotism.
Just a tut.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Let's embrace the science.
Yeah, I was
like
going
it.
to say the same thing for us too. Usually have one that kind of goes with your abilities better than others. We're going to have tons of food, especially we're just talking some of our abilities to give us more food from those mountain tiles, more food from those buildings. Oligarchy seems to be a really great option. Despotism as well, with that science is always great. The culture, Classical Republic, with 2 civic trees to work through, that can always be good. But I think when you're the Inca, food is what you want to
Yeah.
go for.
Just try to blow the game
Yeah.
wide open.
Yeah, get
with
that
our
food, get that production.
with our food empire.
It's
Yeah.
a very nice synergy.
Oh, this is also already so many interesting choices. Do you go for the culture to make sure that you can get through those civic trees, get to those unique abilities, or to those pantheons, or to the army commander? Or do you produce and get a little more science more quickly as well? I always like the culture option. I feel like it gives you more flexibility, but we'll go with that for sure.
We did the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's good if you're trying to rush a Pantheon or if you're trying to be competitive with the civics tree.
Especially when we saw how good those 3 choices on the civic trees
Yeah.
are. All
Yeah.
3 of them are very appealing, so
Yeah.
getting
Right.
something to head that way.
Absolutely.
So we have a little bit, we got to get around a hostile independent to get to the one discovered.
Right, yeah.
So, let's see if that's going to be feasible.
I think sometimes it's easy to see them as hostile independents, but I like to see them as opportunities to demonstrate your military might.
Right, yeah.
It's
yeah.
another way of seeing it.
Right.
That's a choice for us. been spending our influence at the
true.
beginning of the game, which is a very finite resource. We could have sent it towards that independent power, towards the south.
But we didn't.
But we didn't. Which gives us the opportunity to potentially militarily conquer it later,
Yep.
which we could do.
Absolutely. So let's see. We're going to grow our city. I think you said we were trying to expand towards our resources or yonder.
I like wine. I think I'm cultured because of that. Wine is a really good resource early game. It gives you the happiness to get that first celebration going. And once you celebrate, you get a lot of culture on top of that. So it's a nice wombo combo.
Not to step on your strategy, do you find going for the flat yields sometimes more helpful early on and then the percentage yields later? Like get those instant bonuses to get ramped up, and then once you have them, get the percentage resources after?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's typically how I view the
That's why we use
resources as
rubies
well.
before still.
Yeah.
Yeah, rubies
We've got our
before
first
silk
settler.
is a great
Yeah.
example. Or before camels, like why have extra slots if you have no resources to put in them?
So the good thing about making a settler here is not only have we got 3 settlement capacity, which means we've got 2 options to play with, but we are in the process of unlocking our 4th
Of course.
in 7 turns. By the time we've made our settlers, it will be available. So we should be able to just slingshot
A very good spot.
elegantly into a winning position.
Fantastic.
A goody had of our own.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we also have the problem where that
say
independent
we just
power
have
is
the
in a
signs.
good spot for
Yeah.
our next settlement as well. That navigable river looks really nice. There's some mountains up there.
Why I'm sending both
Yeah,
warriors up
it's-
there, and the
it's-
slinger that will produce
Yeah,
will go up there as well.
making peace or using influence is one option.
I don't think
but
it's the option.
I don't
right
think
now.
it's the option today either. They're using up some good land.
Just because I love distracting you guys when you're trying to strategize, I have a question from chat. I'll be asking a few as we get them in from Discord. Someone asks, what has changed the most since the last workshop round?
I have one instantly that comes to mind. For me, it's the amount of ways you can kind of approach each age transition or the start of the game. I think when you have the leader and civ combos in the number that they are now, and they're all interesting to play, you feel this immediate change on the starting screen when you click new game of how many more or how much more is there for you to kind of play around with and kind of strategize with. And I feel like instantly from the first click is when I still notice it the most. What's changed is the new leader and civ options in the create a game screen, but also in the age transition screens for sure.
And I think I picked up a nuance in Sarah's question that it was since the last workshop round. And so
true.
one thing I want to point out is we haven't gotten to the triumphs and talking about them. I'll pop up on the screen real quickly to give people an idea what that looks like. But the major triumphs, the ones that you really have to work pretty much the whole age to get to, the strongest ones, the ones that help you going into the next age, have dedications. And we got a lot of feedback in that 3rd round of the workshop. We love those workshops and all the feedback we got. But specifically that feedback was that those dedications could be stronger.
Right.
And that sometimes, you did do a lot of work to unlock these triumphs and maybe it didn't feel like the payoff was there.
Right.
So that's something that we specifically focused on after the 3rd round of the workshop, heading into the game getting released, any day now. And we are making sure those dedications are always worthwhile to you.
I like the dual answers.
Yeah,
For those who haven't been
at
in the
some
workshop
point,
at all, it's
I
good
will
to
be
know.
able to read your questions properly, but until then, I'm just going to answer them however I interpret them.
Here I go,
Answers sounded
maximizing
Yeah,
the font
was-
as we speak.
My mind's always with the person who has no idea what's going on with this and needs to start from the beginning. But
Speaking of which, actually, we showed a little bit of the triumphs themselves, but I don't know if we've gone into a detailed explanation. If there was somebody viewing this for the first time, experiencing triumphs for the first time, how would you describe them?
So before we had legacy paths where there were just 4 straight line paths through each age that you could unlock progress on. We wanted to open that field wide open. And we didn't want to just have 4 different facets of it. We actually have 6 attributes that every leader in Civilization can draw from in the game. So the expansionist and the diplomatic attributes are part of the game. So the triumph sets are based on, for each age, there are 5 triumphs on each of those 6 attribute sets, which means there are 30 triumphs in total. Here in Antiquity, we have a few more of these major triumphs than we do of minor triumphs. You can see that there are only 12 minor triumphs, so that leaves 18 of them major. But in each of the different categories with the color coding, you can see which ones are cultural, which ones are diplomatic or economic or whatever. And they all are set up so there are counters here. So if you have to complete 10 endeavors, this counter will go up from 0 to 10. You can keep track of your progress. If you have some you're very, very keenly focused on, you can turn on the track button here, and it will actually show up out here in the left-hand side of your screen, so you can track them, every turn and remember which things you're going for. So it's a great system for you to kind of look at how you're going to maneuver through the age, get some power-ups mid-age, and how you're going to set yourself up for really that dominant play going into the next stage with the dedications.
Yeah, and what's great as well is there's the two different types of triumphs, separate from the categories of them. You have the minor triumphs. When you pursue them, you're getting those rewards instantly. You feel them right away. Your civ is more powerful. You're getting those rewards, and that feels really great. But you also have to keep an eye on the future. The major triumphs, they're a little bit harder to attain, but you're getting those later as dedications. So within the triumph system, you're kind of always working to find good bonuses now for yourself. And you're always working to set yourself up for future ages. We're going to be using those triumphs you completed as dedications to give you powerful abilities later. So it's a really interesting balance of how you want to approach navigating the triumph system when you're in your games.
Absolutely. So from our perspective, as we're looking through the triumphs and trying to get a sense of the sort of things we're looking to push towards, our approach is going to be quite scientific. It's going to be very naval, and we've gone for lots of settlers and scouts, which is quite expansionist. So things that come to mind are gaining a 3 settler from revealing lots of the map. We've got the triple scouts, so we could potentially try and do that. There's also one that is settling near natural wonders. So if we can find the natural wonders from scouting, that gives us an opportunity as well to claim an instantaneous benefit. And I think it's, from my experience with the workshop, it's good to settle on those minor triumphs to start with, because they give you that little bit of a leg up and more obtainable things, and then you push towards the bigger quests as you go through.
Yeah.
But we also have an extra rule in this game, which is we're using one of the versions of the triumphs sets, which is the Trailblazers set, I believe. Which means, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first person to gain a triumph gets the benefit, and nobody else can get that triumph. So it's,
and you can tell right away, since the last round of the workshop, I believe, we added which triumph set you're playing with right here at the top of the triumph screen. So it says Trailblazer Triumphs.
Earlier. That should have been.
That was one of the things. But you can also see that the text of every single one says first two. So we do it that way. Now I'm going to hand my game back to VB because we're at the point where the independent power to our north, well protected behind this navigable river, have stymied my scout trying to get up and unlock this discovery.
Right.
But I've built you quite 2 warriors and 2 slingers.
Perfect.
So you have some ammunition to
go. So I will either get this exactly right and eliminate them, or I will embarrass myself on this gameplay.
Either way, it's great for the audience,
We're gonna figure out which is
I think we'll stay in sync for now as well. I'll hand it back to
Thank you.
Ursa Ryan.
Thank you very much.
We've got a few interesting decisions to make here.
We do. This is one of Ada's narrative events, I believe, right? So we can engage upon a quest, or we can take an instantaneous benefit. This would push us towards a celebration, or we could build some brickyards for a little bit of culture, or have 3 coastal, what is that? My site is...
Slotted codices.
Slotted codices, which is exactly what we're going to be doing.
There you go.
So I think we'll head in that direction. And we have obtained our first building. Well, a specialist building, a current building, which is important for us as Britain to make that definition between
Of course.
things we've been unlocking so far, which have been warehouse buildings, which are ageless, constant buildings. But this is a library. So I'm going to just dip down quickly into writing 2, so we can gain that first codex.
Because that goes very well with Ada's abilities as well.
It does
Benefits
indeed.
quite a bit
It
from
does indeed.
the masteries.
By doing a mastery, we are going to obtain, I think it is a little bit of, which is the one, a tech mastery gives us a bit of...
I believe it's culture.
Culture.
Or dependent on our
That's
science.
That's it.
Yep.
And we've got a nice high science amount at the moment. So we'll lean into that quite nicely.
Be very nice.
But otherwise, we've got a good little start. We were, again, stymied in our exploration of that side of the map, so we're just going to keep on expanding as best we can.
Yeah, I think Ed undersold this conundrum I made earlier.
Why do you think I passed it off
That's
to you?
exactly right. That was smart because I'm looking at this and trying to figure it out myself. But that's okay. I'll get there.
In terms of my city development, I did put a saw pit down, and I put that away from the mountains because that's not a food building.
Right, of course.
And I wanted to set up, trying to get a library between the two resources, so I grew towards the sill.
And that'll help us with population as well to get a settler going, so we can try and get another settlement here.
Yeah, we can't settle within 4 of that independent camp unless we clear them out, though.
Yeah, we're gonna.
That's a juicy
this.
location. I trust you.
This is exactly what I'm here for. I'm a smooth operator, gonna get in there.
Yeah. So this is exciting for us. We have unlocked Iceland as an option because we have found a natural wonder, which is something we were talking about before. Now, it is, of course, Britain's favorite wonder, the island of Bermuda. We have found Bermuda, people, which is a fantastic option because we're looking to settle in this direction to stick along the coast anyway. So we can make ourselves a little point here, and then we could potentially leap onto a small island in the middle of the sea. How British. Exactly. So
never caused any problems before, won't cause any issues now.
Oh,
we found someone, an AI.
Ah.
Cool. Ooh, Lafayette. What do we want to do with Lafayette? I think I have my hands full at the present moment with this independent power.
I would at least go for the friendly green.
Yeah, I'm going for the friendly green. That's what I was thinking, whereas I don't really want to antagonize anyone else on this map at the moment while I got my hands full, so it's only 10 influence, we'll be fine.
You can't be friendly with Lafayette. He's a troublemaker.
I've seen Hamilton. He's jumping up on the table. You get a lot of goodwill from me for that. So
Absolutely. So we're playing around with our government here.
Yeah.
We have just completed our first civic, which has opened up a unique British opportunity, the East India Company. So I'm just slotting this tradition into our government.
Yes.
Which gives us a little bit of gold on towns and science in towns adjacent to the coast.
And while it's not as dramatic as some of the other screens, it is one of these screens that has been updated over the course of the Practice Feature Workshop.
Yes, it is indeed.
Can I pause just a second to talk about the advisor here? Because this is a little bit new to me, but might be new to some players as well if they're picking an advisor. As you're going through the game here, I have my military advisor. I've built a settler, and so this advice is coming up as it's relevant to the game for me. And I can just take this little bit of advice here, which is really helpful. It's just that settlers can establish new towns, and that's like a really basic core function of what they're doing. And if that's good enough for you, you can kind of dismiss it. But also, there's the tell me more function that's going to give me a really big, oh my goodness, this is a lot to read. But if you really want to get into the weeds and really understand the strategic decisions the advisors are giving you, this is also a really good resource. There's kind of something for everybody there, depending on the level of depth that you want, which is really helpful. I'm gonna anticipate that I'll be able to clear this out and start sending my settler in that direction. I think I'll be okay. But if I don't clear it out by the time I get there, I might run into some issues. But we'll deal with that specific problem when we get there.
If there's anything I know about Civilization, it's that nothing like that ever goes wrong.
No.
Turn a blind eye, and I encourage you to do so.
Yeah, I've never once been burned by making assumptions about how something will go.
We'll have to figure out exactly where we're going to settle because we'll want the fresh water from those rivers there, but we want to nestle up against the mountains as they as well.
Right, of course.
So.
Now, I'm not saying the game knows a lot about us as individuals and leaders, but it's saying that we have unlocked a Tyrant Day.
Oh,
we love the Tyrant Day.
Lovely.
Which is fantastic.
There's definitely someone on the map to worry about.
Exactly. And we're just going to keep leaning into what we've been doing before, which is just accumulating
science.
Exactly. So we'll just keep leaning into this,
Balloon
slotting things in, and making good friends with our buddy Charlemagne.
Big Chucky.
We got a narrative event going over here, which is super cool. So these narrative events are great. They can send you on little quests. Like we talked about with the discoveries earlier, there's a flat yield option. I can just click this option, get my yields, get on with my life, which is awesome. But I can start a little quest here. Sometimes these quests will send you on missions that you weren't otherwise going for, but might be worth it for the reward. But oftentimes there's at least one here that you are planning to do anyway. So training a merchant, that's something we'll probably get to anyway in the culture tree without too much effort. So that might be something worth doing.
And these big dramatic presentations of the narrative events, even when you're not in the apex of power for your civ, is something that was added with the Test of Time update.
Right.
We had a few of them in the game before, but now pretty much all these big ones that are speaking to how your, eventual heritage could be shaking out in this part of history those are presented in this fashion, which is
Yeah,
great.
we wanted to make sure we didn't lose that sense of flavor, that sense of specialness that you have, even when you're outside of the intended age. So yeah, our narrative team did a great job getting those added down.
So I've just been going through whilst we've been talking and trying to select a couple of
Smart.
pinned triumphs that we're looking to kind of keep an eye on here. So I've got a couple that are
Very
there, hopefully,
wise. Potentially? I'm not sure what's going on.
which they should appear on the screen. Have I? Yeah, I've tracked them.
Yeah, let's go for the production.
Is that?
Yeah.
Can I?
And then we got.
know,
I guess
sometimes
I don't think we can work the volcano next
Good
to
time.
it.
Right. But this is just we can't build it here anyway, so it's a great tile to work.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we've got some options here. So I think keeping an eye on trying to get to mathematics first. It's on the science
I think
tree.
that makes sense.
We can
Well
try
on
and
our
do
way.
that. Revealing the map and settling
And
the
this is a reason.
Yes.
Ursa's tip to never befriend Lafayette may come to haunt him because now we have a perfect example of why Lafayette is a great friend. He is offering us an extra tradition slot.
Yeah, I befriended Lafayette so infrequently that I was just reading that and be like, what? I haven't seen used this big science icon or something here. But yeah, free tradition, that sounds great.
He's going to help us reform our government and just become more Lafayette-esque, I guess.
I dislike it fundamentally.
Yeah, and those tradition slots are valuable. We haven't really,
are.
we haven't really
They can be
talked
quite
about
strong.
that part of this update yet, but these tradition slots are very valuable. So I'm certainly spending my influence on
Yeah.
this.
Previously, we
I'm-
just had policy slots, right?
Yeah.
And now we've split them between traditions and
And
policies.
so those unique attributes from your civilization that we want to persist throughout the game, a lot of them have moved off the civics tree and they're now embedded in traditions because those are powers that you can continue to go back to each age of the game.
They carry across, even if you don't persist as that Civ, we want to make sure that there's a piece of you that feels like it's carrying across the ages. And traditions were a vehicle we had for that we wanted to lean into a little bit more with this.
Yeah. Absolutely perfect.
And I gotta say, your sailing first has been paying dividends. I feel like we've gotten, 3 or 4 goodie huts off the coast already?
We have, and it's also given us a couple of options to get out of trouble. So we had a scout that had been trapped by this hostile independent, but as you accurately moved him around onto the coast, he got out and is now exploring over here. But it's also meant we've been able to travel over the lake, we've been able to go over the coast to find these little islands, and now this piece of land is totally disconnected from the mainland, and that's something we wouldn't have found before. So it's given us a little bit of a flexible option. But a lot of our start has been this combination of Britain giving science, Ada giving science, and then Charlemagne also giving science. So we're
best
really
friend.
getting some momentum,
I
which
love
is
it.
good.
And on our side of the house, we have finished our research into mysticism. We've unlocked a pantheon. We are the Inca. We had no choice but to go with the Earth Goddess as our deity to worship.
Makes a lot of sense.
So we're going to get additional happiness from all those mountains that we're nestling up against.
Yeah, I read through all of them to give myself every opportunity to pick a worse option, but eventually I came to the same conclusion, which Earth Goddess was the only way to go here. I think I'm doing okay with this independent power. I finally got a slinger that can hit it as
Slinger
well.
that can hit the cannon.
Yeah, which
That's
is huge, and then I'll be able to move through once this swordsman is dead and figure that out, which is good.
So this is quite an exciting turn for us because we are going to frighten the other team into submission by going from simply the great and wonderful and eternal city of London, of
course,
to the town of Birmingham and which no more said, and the town of Liverpool
All
alongside.
three.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So we've now gone, and we would have maximised our settlement limit, but Britain's civics have given us another option.
One more free spot.
One more free spot will be ready soon, but I think this is a great opportunity to hand it back. You now have an empire,
Thank
I shall
you.
call it, or at least a small kingdom.
Of course.
I'm gonna try and make use of the mountains and the happiness adjacencies here. There's certain buildings that are really, really synergistic with what we're doing here. I think starting a quarter near some of these mountains will be great. It's not perfect, but I think we'll come over here. We'll start a quarter. I want that happiness. I want those celebrations. I want to have a bit of a buffer for when we are putting those buildings down later, that we have some happiness to work with. So I think that'll be good. And my friend here has advice for me again. Oh, about taking out the hostile independent power. I think I got this one. I think I'll be okay.
And which building was it that you started there?
The
Or-
altar.
Okay.
I want to get the Pantheon benefit going pretty early, but I also think that it's really, really good with the mountains that we have. The adjacency there is really helpful, so we'll do that.
I also gave us research into irrigation. I think we've completed that by now.
We're
No,
getting
still
there,
working.
just a couple
But
of
that will
times.
unlock the garden, which is a
Right.
food building,
Food building
which
next
will
to
get
the mountains, yeah.
the benefit from being next to the mountains.
Absolutely.
So that may be our next
Yeah,
build.
maybe
might team
potentially
that
a
up.
slower start than the other side of the pond there, but we're doing okay.
Yeah. So we were having a little interesting conversation with the trade screen, which is one of the things that have been evolving over the workshop, and looking at where our resources are placed across our empire, because we have just received some turtles. And the resources all have different abilities. This is one that has an increasing ability with the more warehouse buildings you have.
It's
And
fine.
now,
I mean, we're
the
gonna
screen
have to
even
clear
tells us
out
that
the
we have a
independent,
warehouse
but
building
that,
in London.
That's true.
You know, the
yeah.
So we're
where
able
the
to have a
river's
look at
starting
that
there,
and move it
there's
up.
the,
This has been a focus of a lot of
watering hole, I
iteration.
think,
So we're
or-
trying to put
or
as much
oasis.
information as you need in order
Or
to make effective decisions
One
on
of,
the
one of
screen.
those just south of the Navajo Rivers.
Fair
But
enough.
let's keep on
I'll just bring the settler in that
waiting, I
direction.
guess,
and we'll-
patiently in place.
Waiting patiently. That's fine.
Oh,
We
here
have
we
3
go.
settlements and we're still, moving.
Well, as Great Britain expands its empire, it feels like a good time maybe to speak to the new map that is coming with the 140 update. We're currently on the Pangea map, but there is a new map coming, and we've gotten plenty of questions from players asking about this map and what other possible maps might come in the future. I don't know how much we can speak to that, but I'd love to speak to what's coming with the 140.
And I do think on short notice we were able to pivot, so we should actually be showcasing that new map right about now. I believe this is the Fractal Continents.
Oh, is this the fractal? I stand corrected.
Oh, are we sure? Is this what we're on? This
believe so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So maybe we could talk about what makes the Fractal Continents map unique and what players can expect from
I
it.
think you just look at the British Empire right now and how sort of segmented, fractured, divided up, non-traditional big blobby continent. You have a lot of like inlet waterways, and that's traditionally been the characteristics of a fractal map in a Civ game. And that part of the map is sort of demonstrating that very nicely. All of our maps that we've released since some of our like 1.3-ish area updates have been using our new Voronoi map generation, which is a new way of dividing the map up into tiny regions and then linking them together in interesting ways to create the maps. We do think that all of the maps that originally shipped with the game are going to be replaced with that new system. There's still a couple to go. I think after Fractal, at least we have to do Archipelago and get that working in the new system before we'll have them all converted over. But that's where we're heading with maps.
Right. And I just want to +1 on the Fractal Continents map. That map has been so much fun to play in the PTR rounds on this build. Every time, it just feels like it has its identity. It is a Fractal Continents map. You're not getting something different than that, but within that, it's very, very unique every time. I've rolled tons of maps where I've never played a game of Civ 7 like the one I was playing, which is very, very helpful. And when you're choosing different map types, but also within the same map type, if you have something you're looking for, still being able to like find a save that feels completely unique to what you're doing has been great. So the Fractal Continents has been wonderful.
There's very little predictability. If you move a scout over a hill or through a forest, it's very unclear as to what will be on the other side of it. It could be a very long squiggly continent, a long coastline, a mountain range. It's very difficult to predict what's happening. So.
Yeah, I would highly recommend when someone gets the update in their hands to try a Fractal Continents game as soon as possible, because it's a really refreshing map type. I also want to show off here. I want to pat myself on the back a little bit. Ed gave me a challenge. I moved the units he built me over here. I've successfully navigated this independent power. Unfortunately, we are going to have to disperse them for that sweet, sweet science, which is very, very helpful to help
Finish
us
the
move.
irrigation tech for us.
Yeah, finished the irrigation tech, but now we can use our settler to start our second settlement over here, which I feel like is a great time to pass it back over to you. I had the challenge, I completed the challenge, and now we can let the pro develop the empire from here.
I just wanted to talk about the Fractal Continent map just a little bit more. That is now my go-to map.
Yeah.
And one thing I love about it is very unpredictable where the distant lands are. So I've had games where instead of left and right, it's been like, I'm on a continent that goes along the southern hemisphere of the world, and the distant lands are all in the north.
Right.
I've actually had a map where I was like on a donut, And the distant lands were in the middle of the donut. And
Delicious.
they were small and delicious, and I gobbled them up entirely before putting. I mean, there were a couple. I think Machiavelli joined me over there, but I was able to dominate the distant lands just because the map configuration was so peculiar that I was able to take advantage of it.
It also adds a lot of variety to that part of the game, whereas if you get to the exploration age and you are kind of scouting out the map, it is good to be able to go and say, hey, I might not run into enemies right away when I go over the deep ocean. I might find a whole undiscovered continent that is the distant lands that nobody's found yet. So I found that part of the game really great with the new map as well.
May as well.
I hear whispering from the other side. That's never a good thing.
Schemes, it's always
scheming.
schemes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're at an interesting point with London. It's been focused primarily on expansion and on making settlers, but because of that, we haven't really got a lot in there. So we're trying to decide what to do. And as you can see, the hostile scout just nestled in our borders there. It's probably time that we build a little bit of an army ourselves so that we don't get taken by surprise.
Very wise, yes. So we'll start to build up that army. We've got priesthood, which with 3 settlements might actually be worth considering. Which one of these would you swap out though, or so?
I think we've got a lot of science going in at the moment, so perhaps tool making.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you can see, that boat is going to be a bit of a problem for our poor scout. So we'll have to try and nip into maybe inland and round. I don't know.
I think I can dodge down here, get around him.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. And we've got to be heading towards Bermuda. I think that's got to be the play.
Do you feel the call is like magnetic?
It's confusing.
Do you
It's
move the mouse in a
disorientating.
different direction, it snaps back?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Absolutely. Yes. Well, we've actually got a large amount of space on this side of the map. It's been quite a good spawn for us.
Just remember, if we do find Lafayette, we're not friends. You're not friends with him. No one's friends with him. Just if you do end up.
Not at all. Not at all. So we've just made a decision as well. You can see by the 2 blue icons on our civic choice at the moment, we are going towards our syncretism choice.
That's right.
So if we open that menu up and go through, you can have a little look at the options. And actually, this is a good question from me to you. What are the rules that we need to know about in terms of the options you can pick?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started to develop syncretism, it was actually pretty wide open, but we realized the number of choices you potentially had in front of you could be a bit overwhelming. So we intentionally tried to narrow down these options to a few different things. We wanted you to be able to select the unique units and unique infrastructure of associated civs. Basically, civs that seemed relevant to whatever civ you were currently playing as within that time-tested age.
Yeah.
While we went through, and originally these were the only options, so as you can see here, Ada and Great Britain could select Rome, as it was once occupied, Britannia, by the Romans. They can get their own legions in memory of that. The Greek inspiration, similarly, they'd be able to get hoplites, or they'd be able to build the unique quarters of either one of those civs. Originally, it was just these options where you could borrow other pieces from those civs, but we wanted to make sure that for players especially that really wanted to feel as tied as possible to their civilization throughout the entirety of all the ages, they had a third option, and that is to double down on what makes that civ so great by giving them a new powerful tradition, this one being called Royal Society.
Which is a good choice for us, potentially. We've got options with, we could take a hoplite or a legion if we were feeling particularly punchy, or we could focus on infrastructure or lean into the British option. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we go through over the next 5 turns.
And some of the power of syncretism is that you get to make that choice while you're sort of in the middle of things. You can have the flexibility to say, oh, I've gotten into a really unfavorable war. Maybe I do need those units after all. Whereas if I feel like we're in a strong position, maybe we want to double down on what we're already good at, science and the culture, we can absolutely go for that Royal Society option.
I found that's one of the interesting, separate from syncretism itself being a very interesting suite of options if you're outside of your Apex age. I found it interesting, when do you go for it, right? If you take a look at your options early on, there's something really powerful. Is that another thing in the civic tree I want to prioritize over my army commanders? Or do I take my good start and kind of focus on what I'm already doing and come back later for syncretism? It is really interesting not only what you choose for your syncretism options, but when you choose them and how you go about making that strategy as well.
Two
are we
warriors
doing
now. Do you think we
okay?
need to build
We-
a
We're
bit
fine.
more?
slinger
Second
is always a
city's
good
off the
option.
ground. We are sort of at an impasse in terms of how many mountains we have
These
spanning
guys.
Yeah,
across this
no
country.
doubt.
I think we're
So
safe
the
if we go
scout we
here.
have here head down scouting along the eastern coastline here. I am heading
Perhaps
him back
just
to the
post up.
west
Right.
to eventually get over here.
Yeah, we're quite limited.
But
Yeah.
I feel like we even have room for another city or two up against this mountain.
Yeah, and then a few turns ago, you were going through our triumphs again to repin some ones you thought were a priority. Was there anything there you were interested in?
I was curious because that does give you good information about the map. So,
Right.
for instance, it told us that there are 4 natural wonders on the
cool.
map. It told us that I think there are 5 civs in the homelands,
Yeah.
which is not surprising with a Pangea map.
Yeah.
So I was sort of just mining it for that kind of information. I pinned the natural wonder one just because we've already settled next to one
Yeah.
of them, but I think we're pretty sure that there's some that may not be harder to get to settle on. So.
Yeah, specifically with the magnetic draw towards it, I think that might
Yeah.
be more challenging.
All right, so I think we're ready for some food buildings up against the mountain.
Yeah, which is just a really powerful bonus of playing as Inca,
rush
which
to-
is great.
Let's go with the garden like that.
Yeah.
Or adjacent.
Wonderful. And then completing that quarter gives us a few additional bonuses as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So we might as well put the salt into our city. We're currently making units in the slinger.
Right.
So
Does make sense.
I would say potentially taking the pearls out.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, we've got a lot of happiness spam. And
sorry.
the good thing about resources that you're not using is that if it's in the pool on the left, it does provide you some use in gold
true.
and happiness. So it'll give us something.
Yeah. Reason
Did all of our
I'm-
units survive the
They
age?
did.
Nice.
But a couple of them are in rough shape. I'm going to
Yeah.
bring them back into friendly territory.
Can you
I think even though we were
Just the nuclear
friendly
option.
initially with Lafayette, we don't know a ton about his intentions. So
Yeah, we haven't really
Might-
scouted much
the-
of his empire. He's not giving us a happy face or a sad face. He's really low key. It is worrying.
yeah, let's keep looking at what he's up to.
Matt and Ed, I am curious. How do you compare Ursa Ryan and Van Bradley's style of gameplay to your own? Are you surprised by the strategy? Are you thinking, oh, well, this gels so nicely with what I was planning on doing?
I do like to be a bit greedy, try to get as many settlers out as early as possible. So I do feel like we're a bit on the same wavelength. I am glad that he said, oh, and by the way, you may want to actually defend your empire. Sometimes I spec into that a bit too late, I think. So
Yes.
it's good to have that advice.
Yes, I have fallen into that trap on numerous occasions. Absolutely. Well, interestingly, when you play games in the office, do you find that people you play against have very identifiable strategies and tactics, or do people try and play around a little
Yeah,
bit
there are a
differently?
couple that are very, very aggressive. And,
Yeah.
and you do not want to spawn next to, one of the designers, Bill Anderson, is
Vicious.
very vicious and aggressive. Yes. I wasn't going to go all the way to vicious, but if you want to, that's fine.
I think he would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes, we will very frequently, depending on what we're trying to test, actually divide people up into different cadres, where if we know that there is a particular military thing we need to test out, then it will be, oh, hey, Bill, let's get you in a room with maybe Tamor, and we'll figure out if the Sharks can put on a good performance for this new mechanic.
Absolutely. So, although we've expanded pretty quickly, I feel our empire's being snapped at from different angles. We've got angry boats to the left above us, so do we want to keep being greedy and go for economy, or do we want to build a navy? I would say, looking at the screen, one of the nice things about the warehouse buildings, if we go up a little bit now, is we can see how many tiles they apply to. So the brickyard, as an example, would give us a production and then 2 more production because it affects 2 tiles. So potentially we might want to up our production by building some of those buildings.
Sure.
And I'd suggest potentially away from the coast because it's not going to give us a bonus for
Science.
putting them on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's see, perhaps we would them. You think right here?
Yeah, unless it potentially is actually. Look at that.
Oh, do you think it actually is giving us the bonus? It looks like it is giving us
current
signs.
buildings. Yeah, potentially now it is.
All right.
Fantastic.
Shall we start right in with it then?
I would suggest, you see the one just to the top left of where our fishing key is? That
Right here?
will expand our borders to the north and just push towards Birmingham.
Brilliant.
We don't want Birmingham having any more than it needs to have.
All right. Continue to.
So do you feel like, as a Brit, you have a unique appreciation of the strengths and weaknesses of the British Empire? And if you were actually in our shoes playing against the British Empire,
Yes.
maybe you would be even better as somebody who knows the weaknesses of the British Empire?
Potentially, yes. I mean, you get a good sense of the sort of flavor of the country you want to be playing, that naval aspect, that sort of expansion aspect. But it's often quite funny as well, where you see the random generation of the names put something into either a very relevant or very irrelevant location. So we've actually got Liverpool has spawned on the left coast of our empire, which
Wow.
is pretty,
Yeah, that's accurate,
pretty
yeah.
good. And Birmingham is in totally the wrong place, but that's
It's north
fine.
of London.
It's north of
rough-
London.
Vaguely,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I can't remember. I think it might be Great Britain, but every once in a while when I'm playing Civ, a town called Bradford comes up. And I'm always like,
Bradford.
yes, the one that has my name in it. That's the one I can cling to.
It's good that I know somebody who gets excited by the presence of Bradford.
Yeah,
that is a lovely thing.
But it's like whatever kind of play style anyone has. It's the one
Absolutely.
thing I get attached to. Anytime anyone sells
Yeah.
Bradford, I must conquer it. It must be mine. I must take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, our advisor popped up briefly there
That is true.
to tell us that we are making a big mistake. We have collected a codice, but we have no space for it. So if we have a look at the codex menu, we've got one allocated to the palace in London, and there is not another space for them. This is probably the time we should build our library.
Let's get to it then.
Now, there's a good space. Libraries have good adjacency for resources, and we've got some crabs and some pearls to the right. So I think that tower would be fantastic.
Looks lovely to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're all reading books, getting adjacencies, putting your codices in place. So we've discovered a little more of what Lafayette has going on, and it's looking antagonistic potentially. It's a big empire. There's a lot of units there. We've got our army commander now, which is good. But the way the mountain ranges have laid out for us, he's kind of in a pretty important spot on the map. So I'm a little bit worried that our friendship with Lafayette is not going to last
There's
too
a
long.
key passageway
Yeah.
here between the mountains that's between our second city and his capital. So I think control of that area is
Right.
going to be strategically important for us. So I'm actually going to pass it back to VB.
Sure.
We're at a point right now where I'm kind of have gotten the military to regroup and got a couple building projects going on, but I think there's some, what we're going to do with Lafayette, we could use another person thinking that through.
Just another chance
And
to.
so we'll see
Wonderful.
how.
Well, it's an
how
interesting
VB takes
setup
it.
that you've got in your empire, because you had that early war and you had to take on the independent power. When you choose your syncretism options, you've actually built quite a few military options already. You've got
Right,
slingers,
yeah.
you've got warriors, and if you were to choose a unique unit with that option, they would be automatically upgraded.
And I love on the interface there, it actually tells you how many units are going to be eligible for that upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like, makes it really clear cut sometimes.
Yeah.
Those
Which
options
ones
are
and
gonna
how
be
many?
good.
Very nice.
Well, one of the things I didn't change from the PTR rounds, like I think intentionally, but when I saw the question earlier that I might have said was an answer, is on this round or in this version of the build, I've had a much better experience choosing between all the different options. When I first started thinking of syncretism, it was always, why wouldn't you choose the quarter? If you don't have a quarter, it's very powerful to have a quarter. But the last couple of times with the unit upgrades, I've been in the middle of a war, I've had an army commander with some promotions. I'm like, you know what? I can upgrade all of my units to something really powerful here. And being able to go through and have like a really good use case for each of the things, I think is something I didn't maybe intentionally change, but somewhere in the balancing or in the decision making was certainly something I noticed a lot more this time around.
Fabulous. So here's our Bermuda settlement. We've moved the settler across the sea. There is a boat, which is a little bit frightening, but we fear no pirates.
Lose that settlement right away.
No, we could not.
Never.
We could not. That's not how Britain works.
Sun never sets and all that.
No, exactly. We are simply creating an island of naval projection. But we've got a bit of a point with our neighbour here.
Sure, Charlemagne's doing some expanding.
He is doing some expanding. He settled next to Liverpool, which has given us a little chunk of influence for antagonizing that. But our relationship has broadly survived it. We're a little bit below neutral, but we've been doing a lot of endeavor supporting. So the question's going to be, do we see ourselves fighting or making friends with him. Now, the one thing I like about Charlemagne is that he can give military endeavors, which increase combat strength. And say, for instance, we were to do anything on the other side of the map, he could be quite a good ally to have later on. So I would suggest we continue building that relationship, send him trade routes later, and keep giving him some love.
Makes sense to me. Let's start a new one up.
I'm going to start sending him the exchanges again, keeping the beginning yields of our empire nice and high. And it just pushes us through the trees early. And as you can see, we do have... What are you doing in our lands? Coming to visit our volcano, I think. An interesting choice of holiday, but there you go.
It's a very cool tourism ad. They visit our volcano.
That's true.
So-
Very appealing. Breathtaking.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Take your breath away.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It is an active volcano. That's much more exciting than those dormant ones.
All right,
yeah,
exactly.
no doubt, no doubt.
So the choice is upon us, syncretism. Now, one of the options we are unable to do. We can not take Legion because we do not have bronze working. So we've kind of leapt ahead of ourselves a little bit.
So we could actually take it. It just would not take effect until
Oh,
we
I see.
research bronze working.
Even better. So the question's going to be, what do we see being useful in the long run? We do have a library that is on the coast, but maybe one culture, is that going to swing things in our interests or not? It's difficult to say at this stage. We could build some infrastructure, but both of these pieces of infrastructure are built in cities, and one of the problems with Britain is that Britain is very bad at making cities.
Very good point.
So it could be that we take a unit and
I feel like.
set ourselves up for success later in the game.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And of course, the option is always to lean into that affirmation. I am kind of leaning in that direction, but I don't know. How likely do you think it is that we're going to come into conflict with either Charlemagne or another friend we meet along the way?
I might.
I think it would be the option of backing us up so that if it went wrong, we'd have options,
Good point.
which I think would be nice. Incidental question: do you prefer the Moody Gladiator or 300? Where's your interest?
There's one right answer.
Always been partial to Gladiator.
Yes.
I would suggest
We can stay
potentially we take Rome and we show that sort of Roman background to the British Empire.
We have quite a bit of traditions already on our side as well. So once we do get access to those with bronze working, they'll be quite strong.
They will be. So I reckon we take that and
like it.
we see where it goes.
All right, now that we've chosen a syncretism choice, let's sync back to some of the questions I have
Very well done. Yeah.
There we go.
from Discord. And maybe we'll ask a few. And this is kind of a halfway point for us during the showcase. So we'll get through a few questions. And feel free, I feel like, there are questions that multiple people could answer. So feel free to jump in. Someone asks, as a workshop participant, what was the biggest surprise you encountered through player feedback in any of the system changes in Test of Time? Like a surprising balance, combo, feedback you didn't anticipate, etc. There's a lot of options.
There are. I would throw this one to the creators, honestly. Did you guys find anything particularly interesting as you were participating in the workshop that surprised you?
Man.
Actually, I can go ahead and answer this. So,
yeah.
Ben Bradley's sitting right next to me, and we had some creators who were really, really thoughtful throughout the process of the workshop, and some of them wrote lengthy epistles to us on balance and
Guilty, yes.
yeah. And if I remember right, it was Van Bradley was talking about in one of the early rounds of the workshop just how complex some of the civs were getting.
Right.
And that it was getting hard to hold all their bonuses in your head, and that if we could just simplify things down a little bit, he thought, you were of the opinion that was going to actually elevate the game. And I applaud our content design team because they embraced that feedback right away and came up with some very bold initiatives. Carl Berrien, that the community knows very well.
Carl was critical to that.
Yeah, very critical to that. But the whole team helping him. We had Sukatract and several members of your Test of Time team that just dove in and said, we should actually do some restructuring as to how a civ is formulated. And the next round of the workshop, they pretty much had everything repackaged in the new format. And I think it's just, it's maintaining these civs and retweaking them as we introduce new systems that they're going to have to react to. There's just a lot more flexibility, and they are easier to understand. And I think we really have crisper definitions about what makes those civs cool in their Apex age, so that when we're echoing those in the other ages, it's a little clearer where to go.
It was a great adjustment because it solved so many problems that we had in terms of the grokkability and the sustainability, like you were saying. So it was a good change, and I'm glad that it's landed well so far.
I have another question. What made you decide to change core principles, e.g. legacy paths / victories of the game in this update, and why now and not later?
I can absolutely take that one. So this update, a lot of people think of it as being in response to the players who wanted that traditional Civ experience to stay with a civilization through all the ages of the game. But we know that there are people, I, to be totally honest, myself included, that love the flexibility of being able to pick a leader and then adjust my civilization as I go through history. Just all the combinations of bonuses and stuff you can get from that are so powerful. And we wanted to make sure we were serving both those two camps of players.
Definitely.
And with the Test of Time update and the time-tested civs servicing the players who wanted to remain as a single civilization identity, we knew we needed to do something very dramatic in terms of elevating the game for everybody else. And so we looked at all the feedback we were getting across all the different places that we receive feedback on. We have a great team that helps us collect and synthesize all that feedback. And there were issues in terms of replayability of the game and whether or not you were getting far enough into the modern age. Just a list of 2 or 3 key items. And the way we addressed them were with the new Triumph and Victory systems. And so what was great was not only are we servicing the whole community that way, but when we did something like the workshop, we could test all these big changes at once and get, feedback. However people were playing the game, there were big meaty systems for them to give us feedback on.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure no one felt like we were taking anything away from them. We knew that we wanted to give more. We wanted to evolve these systems in a way that felt right for Civ 7. And I think we've been able to thread that needle through a lot of hard work and through a lot of collaboration with folks like our content creators and everybody that was spent in the Crisis Feature Workshop.
With the changes to remove victory paths, legacy paths, what do the leader / Civ challenges look like now?
I'm going to let Matt answer that, because Matt was actually the original designer who worked on our whole memento system and the leader Civ challenge system. So I think you can give people some good news here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the good news is that if you've done a lot of those challenges that were in place that relied upon the legacy systems for those particular challenge achievements, you would be able to, you're not going to lose any progress, right? But as a result of those legacy paths being extracted, we have had to make those adjustments. Now they're focused more on getting those triumphs that we just showcased, as well as making your progress towards those victories. So we've adjusted them and fine-tuned them to make sure that you're still going to be able to level up as smoothly and as regularly as possible without losing a step if you were already in the process of making the progression.
Oh, no.
Awesome, thank you. And as expected, we got a lot of questions from Discord asking about possible future content and teases for upcoming things and what to expect. There's 2 that kept coming up, so maybe we can just speak to whether they are on the dev radar, on the team's landscape horizon. One is, Ed, the collapse mode that you had teased at one point. Is that still something the team is considering?
It is certainly still on the list of considerations. We have a lot of things that are tempting us to move forward towards them. But the collapse mode, where there's sort of an even more dramatic end to the age, is something I would love to see in the game. I think one thing we're also looking at is the way the crisis system works. The crisis system is maybe just a little bit too predictable in terms of when it's going to come and how it's going to hit you, and we'd love to make it a little bit more dynamic in how it responds to what's going on in the game world. So that's something that we want to look into. So no promises on when we're going to get to anything like those, but I'm excited. We have some things that didn't quite make it in the 1.40 updates. I wasn't sure what else you were going to ask me about, Sarah, but I'll just go ahead and steal a march on you and go ahead and say that hot seat is something that we were able to demonstrate a working version of it in the last round of the workshop. It wasn't quite polished enough to meet our standards to come out with the 1.4 release, but we are sure that the next patch that's going to follow is going to have that new capability there.
Yeah.
Ed, how did you know I was going to ask about hot seat? The other one that I was going to ask about, and it might be a similar answer to collapse mode, is canals. I have seen a lot of people itching for canals to make a return to Civ 7.
So I may have done some design work and had some discussions about canals just today. I don't think you knew that, Sarah. But
I didn't.
Matt knew. That's why he immediately broke out laughing when you asked that question. That was actually one of the design discussions that was most active within the design team just today. So that means we're hotly on the heels of pursuing canals and trying to figure out exactly the best way to fit them in to the Civ 7 experience.
Hard to say when those will come, but it is definitely something that we're taking a look at right now.
All right, good to know. I will relinquish you all from questions for the meantime. There's a lot been going on the map, so we'll return back to that.
I was just gonna say there's so much I wanted to update the audience on, just in case there's
Give us the update.
Yeah, so we got rid of our independent power up here. Unfortunate for them, but great for us. We have a nice town going here. I managed to kind of finesse a second town, a third settlement down here, kind of trying to best utilize my settlement limit, best take up space on the map. It's easier to acquire it now than to acquire it later if someone else takes it. Lafayette decided to settle to the north, which is great because it opened up this beautiful spot with the mountains, some coastline, there's a natural wonder here. There's a lot of good tiles, a lot of good options. It's far enough away that if he's mad about it, he's gonna have to work pretty hard to do something about it, which is awesome. In Cusco as well, I wanted to try and build a wonder. I don't think we've had a wonder built yet in this game. But I want to try and build a wonder and gain the ability to hang gardens. It's really synergistic with what we're doing here. But this wonder is also in a really good spot. It's going to give adjacency to this tile later, which is a great tile for our science and production buildings next to the resources. Also, we're really incentivized to either use the mountain tiles and put buildings next to them as well. And this tile next to another kind of quarter and two mountains is another great tile for a wonder to give adjacencies to. And so I thought from a strategic perspective, that was a great thing to pursue, both for the wonder itself, and for the tiles it affects later on in the game. So that's the update from our team. Team Sunset over here. That's our update.
Well, I've been, you've left me to it whilst you've been talking about the game, and I report that I've had a diplomatic incident with the Normans. In true British fashion, we are
No way.
falling out with the French. I thought everything was going well, and Charlemagne decided to denounce me, and in a fit of rage, I denounced him back. So that relationship is falling apart very quickly. As you can see, we've now hit hostile. That's not good. However, I can report successes. We've cleared the hostile independent power to the south. My army is now consolidating itself. There is a couple of barbarian boats or independent powers which are causing us grief, but as you can see, the legions of Britain are now beginning. So we're building up a little bit of an army. There is a war coming. It is with Charlemagne. Back to you.
Oh, all right. Let's keep the war machine marching.
One of the fun things I've been playing around with is where to allocate gold, which is a resource in the game that's quite a flexible one. So when we talk about towns and cities, gold is the resource that you can use with regards to towns a little bit more. Towns produce gold from production, but gold is also one of the only ways that you can spend to get buildings in towns as well. So over in Liverpool, I've been adding a fishing quay so that I could build a galley because we're being attacked. But we're also having a quick look. Once a town gets to a very high population, maybe we could consider it as a candidate for a city, or we could even specialize the town when it hits population 7. So there are options for us to play around with.
Now, what's your strategy regarding converting towns to cities and sort of the ratio? I've seen a lot of discussion about that, and especially in the case of Great Britain, which has that increased cost. Do you still feel like it's wise to invest in a second city early on?
I think if I was playing a Civ that wasn't Britain, I'd be more tempted to. Britain is expensive to make cities. One of the lenses that helps me a lot is if you go down to the bottom left and click on the continents lens, you can have a look and see how the map is split out. Now you can see most of our land is on the same continent here. This yellow Vindy, and my eyesight is terrible, I apologize. But the way that towns and cities interact often depends on continents. So if towns are on the same continent as a city, they can send food back. If they're on different continents, that connection is a little bit more difficult and it's more road-based to do. So I like to have maybe one city per continent and have all the towns link into it. Or I like to potentially do 1 or 2 towns per city if it's a little bit more of a linear relationship. Right now, we've got a nice surrounding of London. As long as all of the towns can get a fishing key, they could send their food back to London and that won't be a problem. But let's say if we were to war further into Charlemagne's territory, we might need a second place to make military units. So maybe Liverpool would be a good candidate.
Can I throw a ratio at it? Well, maybe for whoever's commenting as well, because I have a very passionate ratio that I try and follow. I get all kinds of comments. That's a great strategy. That's an awful strategy. What are you thinking? I tried that and it worked for me. I try and go for a minimum 2, but maximum 3 cities per age. I find that if I ever have fewer than 2 cities, so 2, 4, and 6 in the respective ages, then I'm just not having enough cities to really do all the things cities do that towns can't, right? But if I have more than 3 cities per age, if I have more than 9 cities by the time the game ends, I usually feel like I over-citied and didn't count enough. I was just gonna throw that over there as a ratio and see how people feel about it.
Yeah, there's no one formula, and there's so many things that will change it. One nice little mechanism when thinking about cities is population. The more rural population you have in a city, the cheaper the cost of making that city becomes.
Right.
The more cities you have, the more expensive they are. So if you're riddled with gold, it's not a problem. If, like us, we're on a bit of a tight economy, we're running a bit of a balance between making gold and spending it on units, it's a more interesting question as to whether or not it's worth it or not. So
yeah, the civ
something for us to
abilities
keep.
make a big difference too. As soon as
Yes.
you're in with Augustus, then you're like, okay, well, wait a second here. Why would I build too many cities?
Same with their British ability here.
Absolutely, yeah.
British. Did you say British?
We may have.
Great Britain? Speaking of great, we have something great to show the viewers. We're going to cut to that
Whoa.
now.
As one of history's most accomplished generals, Alexander the Great conquered his way to becoming the King of Macedon, Pharaoh of Egypt, and King of Persia. In Civilization VII, he is rewarded for going to war and staying at war, sweeping up settlements with wonders to maintain his legendary momentum. Whether he was an audacious explorer or a power-hungry general, his conquests forever changed the world's cultural landscape. You'll want to build enough wonders to capitalize on that expansion, as Alexander's empire thrives in the cities he claims beyond his capital. Alexander didn't just capture territory, he transformed it. With every grand city he claimed, Alexander etched his name into history. And as his dominion expanded, so did his military might. Command an unstoppable force worthy of your glory, leaning on unique military units for extra power. For a high synergy military build, consider pairing Alexander with Greece in the Antiquity Age. Stack combat bonuses on the unique hoplite unit and create a powerful army to kickstart your conquest. Or choose a different path all your own. But whatever you build, remember, to build something you believe in.
So that was our very great new leader coming free to Civilization VII with the Test of Time update. Civ fans will remember Alexander the Great from past titles. He's making his return to the roster. And with that, we are going to turn things back over to our players.
Wonderful, and we're at a very interesting point of our game. I'm kind of approaching my 9 or 10 turns. I've made some inroads over towards Lafayette here. I'm gonna hand it back over to Ed, but first I'd love to see how we're doing kind of compared to each other, compared to the map, see if we can kind of change the way we're approaching our victory here. So I'm actually going to open up the brand new victory screen so Ed can kind of guide us through how to navigate this screen and see how we're doing for each of the victory conditions.
So the whole idea with the new victory system is you're going to proceed towards one of the 4 victories we've always had in the game: cultural, economic, military, scientific. But what you're going to have to do, especially in those first 3 areas of the game, is show true dominance over the other players. And it's only when the world just says, yep, you're the cultural leader, we bow to you, that then you're going to achieve the victory. So it's all about accumulating score in those 3 areas and having a score that's just clearly way ahead of everybody else. The science victory is a little bit different in terms of it's still a race to space, but you're scoring points to get up towards that 100-point goal, which is when you're eligible to launch that mission into space. So what we wanted to do is, we know that some people don't play the game all the way through to the end, and they're multiplayer sessions that might be playing just like we are, and they're going to play a single age, and they're going to want to be able to evaluate who was winning. Was Ursa and Matt better than VB and I, and those types of answers. So we came up with a scoring system, but we thought about the scoring system in previous Civ titles, and there were scoring systems that were just giving you points for how big your empire was and how many cities you had and how many wonders. It wasn't really at all tied in with the victories. It was sort of this absolutely independent scoring system that had nothing to do with that. And we wanted a more seamlessly integrated scoring system that reflected how you were doing towards those victories. So what you see on the screen here is you see that as Pachacuti, we are in 3rd place in 2 victories, we are in 2nd place in military, and we are trailing down in 4th place in the scientific area. So every time we're not in 1st place, that's going to hurt our score. So if you look at the score screen, what happens is it tells you here how that's computed, but basically you start with a score of 1,000, and then you lose points for each place that you have fallen out of 1st place.
Right.
So we have lost 120 points, and we're at 880 right now. Thankfully, well, I guess we have unmet players.
Haven't met us yet.
Yes, and so I can cheat and look at their screen. And Ada is here, this unmet player in slot number 3.
Not too shabby.
So
It's
we
difficult
are
life being this high up the tree.
we
It's,
are 20 points behind. We are basically need to, like, if we could flip from 3rd to 2nd and drop you from 2nd to 3rd, that would be the 20-point swing that we would need.
That's
So not only are we behind you, we're behind some AI as well.
That's the more embarrassing admission. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're just 1 degree removed of the embarrassment. We're all behind the AI a little bit. Can I ask a follow-up question? With the victories, at what point in the game can I achieve a victory condition? When does that unlock for me? And then as I go through the game, how far ahead of the AI do I need to be to achieve that one of the 4 victory conditions?
You want to take that one, Ed?
Sure. So as you go through the game, you will get to a point in the exploration age where all of a sudden victories, you're eligible for victories. But that first dominance threshold is very severe. It's 8 times the score of somebody else. So you pretty much have to have either wiped out all the other civs in the map or exerted just an amazing level of dominance in one area of the game. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to win in the exploration age. And so what the game is set up for is it's not going to put you in a situation where you've clearly won the game and you just have to play for 50 more turns to get that victory. If you are dominant, we want to go ahead and reward you with that victory right away. But if it's close, it could go all the way towards the end of Modern. We've had games that have gone all the way.
Yeah.
You had one in the workshop.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That was
I had one in the workshop where I took it all the way to the end, and the threshold goes down over time. So the amount you need to be ahead reduces as you get farther into the game to allow someone to win. And me and this other AI had the same threshold kind of allow us to win at the same time. And we ended up in a draw. And then the game in a draw gave me a defeat. So I was a little bit aggrieved that I worked that hard. I felt I'd won just as much as the AI did, but that's okay. I felt like the AI needed that win.
But you have this interesting mix where the victories, you can obtain points towards them easier and easier as the game goes through. So I'm thinking about the economic pathway as you go into exploration and then into modern. There are all these different new techniques as to you get more points for having resources. You can build factory resources or return treasure from distant lands. And it gets easier to push a pathway, whilst at the same time, the ceiling that you've got to hit starts to come down. And it is that really interesting compression of it gets closer and closer and closer. And as you say, these are some very, very interesting results. But also it gives you this sort of sense of, oh, I really want to get the victory in this particular threshold. Like, don't you reduce this on me. I'm going to win this sort of
one of
victory.
the interesting gameplay loops that I've really loved through the PTR rounds and on this patch is not only are you always pursuing your victory, you're going to have one or two that you're going to be pursuing, but you can also help by making sure someone else doesn't get the threshold over you in another category. So I might be pursuing a cultural victory, but I can also help myself win that cultural victory by being scientific enough that my score to the next player is close, that they never get over the threshold. So there's so many interesting ways to pursue your own victory and deny the other players their victory that really does unlock later in the game that I find interesting.
And I've taken the daring move during a stream here to open the Civilopedia. We've had some problems with that in the past.
Yeah.
But you can see here there is information for people who need it about what those different victory levels are. The transcendent victory, where, I think I misspoke before, where it's 6 times more points than the other player. That's the one that's truly hard to ever achieve, and it does not unlock until 50% of the way through exploration. You can see that we have still crushing victories are also very good, and decisive and momentous and so forth. So you can get a good measure of exactly how well you were able to outcompete the other players in your game.
Is there someone on the dev team that had like the first transcendent victory? Is there someone who's claimed that title, or is it more of a collaborative
I
thing?
don't believe that's been claimed yet.
Oh, interesting.
We did make a big deal, like when we had our first multiplayer match of Civ 7 that went to completion. Like who won that game? Tamor Raymond,
of course.
I believe, was the winner of that game.
If anyone has done it, it would be Bill, who did a lot of work setting it up. Probably when it was a bit out of tune, he was like, nailed it, got it, no one can take it away.
But I think we should maybe, once the 1.4 update hits the wild the first time, that we have a playtester who can do that. It's tricky. So it'll be fun
very hard, and I've gotten, I'll say close-ish.
Yeah.
But it's certainly possible, but it is not easy. You have to really, from turn one, know exactly what you're doing to pursue that.
We've got a bit of a problem with the locals, I think.
Yeah, these pirates are not thinking we're so great right now.
They're not messing around, are they?
I think they saw your love of ships and thought, you know what? No, that's not allowed.
Absolutely, but we do have an increasingly sized land army, which is quite fun. We're slowly starting to build that round. I think if we pick up a new resource, like that Cowrie, that's a good one actually, because we've got a lot of things that boost into it. We can have a little play with our empire resources and our city resources and make sure that we've got the salt in London.
Very smart.
Because then we can make sure that we are building it. It's already in there, fantastic.
Perfect.
But we could probably apply that newly acquired Cowrie to one of the towns further down if there's
let's
space.
see.
Maybe instead of the crabs.
Crabs. Those out. Up this in here.
Because it gives some nice science, which is always fun
Absolutely.
to apply. But I think otherwise it's just a case of moving our units to the border.
Let's keep moving them along. We also have to pick our next civic. So let's see here. What do we think is standing out to us? We have the choice between our British Foundation or the rest of the normal civics tree. What would you recommend here, Ursa?
I would suggest if we picked up Code of Laws, we'd get a merchant and access to trade routes, but all of our local entities don't like us,
so
so
friendly.
that may not be very good. I'd say discipline too.
Discipline
if we
too.
get the mastery, that plays into Ada's bonus and
Very
just
good point.
keeps cranking up the science to keep that.
No.
And again, we just got to protect our backs a little bit here. I'd suggest probably a
Since we
couple of
have the
galleys just to
creative
make sure
merchant,
that we're not
I wanted
being.
to get
We
that
don't want
line.
everything being pillaged turn by turn
I think that's
as we
very
go
wise.
through.
We are
This
building
is
up a
gonna
little bit of
become
gold. Do you think
Lafayette
it's
City
worth
State.
Yeah,
purchasing
sure.
something alongside
I tried
that?
to go around.
Or should we hold on to it for a case of emergency?
I think you probably, if we have a look at our commander quickly, he has some stuff packed in already.
He does.
Including 2 warriors and a slinger. So there's actually a nice button down on the bottom here that lets us just upgrade all troops in one go. So we can make sure that everything is cutting edge, ready to go.
Lovely.
And just keep that movement through to the front line so that we can take on Charlemagne before he steps out of place.
Inevitably, right. So let's see. We'll continue to position those guys where they need to be. We've got
Can I
another
ask an
legion.
inquisitive question? Have you ever slotted in a civic yet? Or into one of the traditions into one of the tradition slots?
We have, yeah.
I just really wanted to look at this beautiful screen of the nice gold tradition slot.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to the blue civic slots and kind of maybe go over how many tradition slots you have at one time and how those slots work. I remember we were going through the PTR. That was one of the things that during the first round, I didn't struggle at the end, but kind of the first time I saw the screen, it was like a little bit hard for me to navigate because it's a difference from the live build where now you have two different things that can go into these slots instead of just one.
Right, we've gone through a few iterations, and shout outs to our UI UX artists and designers who have taken this to the nth degree as we tried to make sure that we can communicate that information as effectively as possible. You can see here there's a bit of a subtle but hopefully clear enough distinction between a policy slot and a policy and tradition slot. You have these little icons over on the left-hand side. You see two of them. This icon up here is indicating that it can carry a tradition. If you see the standard blue scroll and quill slot, or icon rather, you know that it is just for policies. So these two down here, policies only, these two are capable of housing traditions.
And since the last round of the workshop, that screen has gotten much better about, for instance, if you don't have a tradition slot open, but you move a tradition over there and you have a policy, you can slide out of that tradition slot, it will automatically adjust.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so you don't have to do as much manual manipulation as we did
Yeah,
before.
well, I find that there's a few areas, these traditions are one of them, but the dedications as well, if you achieve a lot of the major triumphs, there's some areas where you might have a lot of these cards, but not enough spaces, and so to be really selective as to how you want to maneuver your strategy around. Same with the dedications as well. So I find it's an interesting place to play in as a player when you're trying to strategize. If you have more things than you have spaces for them, how do you optimize your strategy to make that work?
Yeah, it's a sense of tension we want to make sure is maintained. So I'm glad that it's coming through.
Yeah.
And we're starting to move towards drag and drop interfaces on a lot of our screens now. We have picked up very few resources in our game, so we're not a good empire to demonstrate it, but that's something that people will see as they get to the new build, that they can
the
just
UI's
drag and
done a
drop
good
some
job
these.
of making that better as well. Every time I click a resource, it highlights where it can go, which I find is just a small visual change, but really helps me move through that menu in a way that's a little more seamless.
We're revving up now. We're getting ready.
Or are you preparing for a conflict, perhaps?
Charlemagne, he's not playing well.
Not our best friend right now.
No, exactly. But it's fine. We've got the Legion, so we will have
Right,
a bit of
you
combat.
use syncretism, you've got the legions, and that's
Well
going to
prepared.
be...
Yeah, we should be fine.
And we're about to go and start researching our traditions. We got one more turn here in Code of Laws, and then I think that's our next move.
Yeah, and we'll move into syncretism after that for sure. You want to have enough time in the age to utilize the abilities you've unlocked via syncretism. Have we found a way over on the south side of the map yet? We unlocked sailing.
So we have
yeah,
somebody
sorry.
who is sailing around that point, and yes. Okay, and so here's another narrative moment for Pachacuti. And we could take a quest, have 3 altars, give us an economic attribute point. Ooh.
That's good.
Yeah. I have a personal Civ 7 policy, another thing that I'm sure anyone or everyone will agree with. Anytime an attribute point is on offer, I'm going for it.
They're
if it's
very
coming
strong.
from a wonder, if it's coming from a quest, like anytime the game gives me the option, I'd rather try and fail than not go for the attribute point. It gives you so many more strategic opportunities as you go through the game to kind of really narrow in your empire a little bit and really hone your strategy compared to some of the other.
And one of those things that follows you throughout the ages as well.
Yeah.
So it's very persistent.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. There's always the tension of having abilities that will kind of leave the age transition and having ones that stick through you with the whole game. And those attribute points are one of the ones that really benefit you for the entire game, and you can build an age agnostic strategy around them, which is nice.
So, and I think there are some attribute points hidden in the triumphs from time to time.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's ways of obtaining them, which are entertaining to go for as well.
So we have our first trade route coming online, and we have the choice either we can get 5 resources from Paris,
Right.
but that's going to make the possibility of war against
Right. We might not
Lafayette.
keep those resources for
Yeah.
very long.
Or we can go, and because we've been scouting the south, we just found this city-state down here, and the city-state is Isabella's city-state.
yeah.
So we know that Isabella's on the map with us here. So I actually think that sending the merchant down there is
Yeah, let's go with the reliable option.
It also has a lot of crabs, which are inherently tasty as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good one to trade. We haven't really traded on our side of the continent. We've kind of found ourselves surrounded by somebody who doesn't like us.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you can't simultaneously be trading with Charlemagne and being at war with Charlemagne very easily. So.
Trade routes would all go goodbye as soon as we
You
break
want
out.
more military or a fourth settler?
Oh.
Always more
Can it-
military.
Can that fourth settler get kind of to the west a little bit? There's some really great land over there.
This hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not sure how helpful it is from a mountain perspective, but it's very pretty. And sometimes when you're playing Civ, you just got to go for what looks.
Yeah.
You got to go
Oh,
for
yeah.
what's pretty. It's part of the immersion.
Absolutely.
I always find that collecting land is easiest early on. Not only does collecting it help you because then you can use it, it'll benefit you, but I find it easier to acquire land with settlers than it is to take later. And so I'm pretty pro always grabbing a settler and taking some land early on.
Birmingham is not in a good way, is it?
No. Just now noticed that.
And we're having things pillaged as well. But this is often the problem when you don't have the military units to sort of give you that zone of control.
I feel like if there is anybody watching from Birmingham, they've had a pretty rough stream. They got caught with some strays at the beginning. And hours gone by, like, you know what, this is going better for me now. And then the barbarians are over there taking them over
Not at
again.
all. Yeah, absolutely. Nice. But just keep pushing those galleys to the north.
That wouldn't happen if it was called Bradford.
Speaking of Birmingham, this question from Discord could be from someone in Birmingham. It's possible. And the question is about leader balance and what kind of leader balance changes can be expected in 140. Can we speak a little bit to that and maybe some other balance changes that are made with 140 as well? Because there were quite a few in this update.
So I think what we'll start by saying is we had to give a lot of information to the workshop participants to get them oriented to what was going on. So every time a new workshop release could come out, we'd put out a lot of patch notes. By the end of the 3 rounds of workshops, we counted up how many pages of patch notes that was, and it was 28 pages worth of patch notes that went out to the workshop participants. So we've changed a lot of things. Now, when you get the patch notes, when this releases on the 19th, it won't be 28 pages long, because what we had to basically say for the civilizations was reworked every single civilization to be appropriate for the test of time mode. And so, yeah, there probably are 1 or 2 that maybe didn't have anything touched, but I don't think there were. Because of some of the things we've been talking about here about having the echoes of your primary ability in the other ages, we want to make sure that primary ability was very, very clear. The moving off of some of the abilities off of the civic nodes, where you would just research a civic node and that would give you an innate ability. Now there's a move to tradition cards, because we want those to be available for you to slot them in later in your game and retain those powers later in the game. So every civ has gotten so many changes that they're not itemized in the patch notes. The leaders are different. The leaders, we also have updated a large number of them, but at least the changes there are itemizable. Now, when you get into subtle things like the leaders have mementos, the mementos themselves have been rebalanced. The leaders have challenges. We've had to make sure that the challenges work for the new way that we have moved to triumphs instead of the legacy paths. There's a lot of changes with the leaders as well, but at least we were able to condense those down into something that you can read in the patch notes.
Yeah, I'll give a piece of advice too to the folks when this patch hits for the first time. Take a minute to go through and click on some stuff you might be familiar with. I got caught in this round going in, assuming one of the mementos I picked was just the same as it always has been, and then realized to my detriment pretty early on that it in fact did get changed in a way that I found very delightful, but not for the strategy I had assumed I was going to use it for. So everything, including the little mementos, has been changed a little bit. So I'd recommend going in there and checking it out.
And I just wanted to show on our screen, we have a massively delightful monument placement where we're getting 7 adjacency bonuses.
Oh, it's incredible.
All set up by VB's great placement of the Hanging Gardens. He was promising that these kind of opportunities for come into play, but we actually have one right now. So
That's wonderful. That's
That
a
is
great
a
monument.
fearful amount of adjacency.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's great about having the one building, the second building kind of completes the quarter, and maybe specialist is another thing I'd love to talk about if we have time or if someone has it on their screen, because that's been one of my favorite updates. But it's when you put that first one down, you get those adjacencies. I get to do this again. Like I got another building I can put here for all these adjacencies as well later, which is a really, really satisfying experience.
A sunken enemy.
Fine.
Yeah, that's all looking quite good.
Spanish Empire has been revealed.
Yeah, I'm
make
worried
sure
that our goal to find all the
do I
natural
want?
resources is it can be hard to control them, but maybe easier to find them now. I think we might know where a couple of them are.
Interesting. All right.
I think keep heading to the left. Well, That's Lafayette, isn't it? So if
That
we
is.
potentially ask for some open borders, we could skip through his lands and go and find...
Lafayette earlier denied my open borders after
he?
all of that friendly diplomacy from the beginning. I had a scout stuck on the coast for like 5 turns. We had to pivot to sailing just to rescue him.
Well, let's see if he gets on with us better. You see, look, it's easy.
Oh, and this is the guy who wasn't going to be
Simple.
friends
And
with
you
him
were
at all.
trash talking Lafayette earlier. He should not have that kind
That
of
is,
respect.
I show him respect.
Respect.
By
Yeah.
George story.
Respect.
You're
Body
betraying
distress.
your own
Yeah.
morals. The lack of spine you've shown in your conviction.
What can I say?
All right. Get a little further.
I'm genuinely worried about the army he's building now. I feel like,
Lafayette.
yeah,
And Charlemagne is also somebody that we've met now.
yeah.
Okay. So we're
We're coalescing.
Not so far apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We've got about 10 minutes remaining as well, so
We may need to
Serve
just
your last
declare
10
war on
turns to
Lafayette.
victory.
Yeah, sure. Just for
Are
fun.
we
Why
going to
not?
begin the end,
I reckon
perhaps?
so.
So I think I will,
Declare that war.
declare war and then pass the control over.
That sounds good to me. I'll give you a bit
Fair
more
enough.
of an advantage and make sure that I give you a fresh turn before I declare war.
It is going to be a surprise war,
Let me.
but I have not moved
I think
many
that
of the
looks
military.
good.
It's okay. I'll navigate it the best that I can. The good news is whatever comes upon the empire, I will not have to see the
You
destruction in the
should
next
have
one.
enough influence to pay for a couple of points of war support,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, that was Charlemagne though. I went to fight with Lafayette.
Oh, you're right.
That's okay. We'll ignore
I'm just
Charlemagne.
going to declare war.
That's okay.
Some of these two.
Yeah, that's okay. They both have really cool outfits, so it's
Fine.
You might as well declare war on both of them.
Yeah,
There is a
go.
triumph for being at war with everyone on the homeland.
They're both vaguely
true.
French. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, maybe we can show that off because then we haven't met.
We have to meet.
You have to meet us before you can.
Yeah.
Because it's
war us.
really the pop up for the triumphs is one of the most satisfying bits, and it'd
Yeah.
be great to have that show up on screen too.
So, yeah, just keep declaring war, I think.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
done and done.
You?
That's
Oh, it's
it.
only -3.
Only -3.
Plus what we said we were on Immortal, correct?
Once upon a time,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
had happiness.
Okay.
No more. Oh yeah, look at this
All
assembled
right.
army.
Well,
This is fantastic.
let's pack you up. Let's move
This is
you
good. And
somewhere
we've
I
got
can heal you.
reinforcements on the way. We've got
Yeah.
boats.
I also had just that one legion go to deal with the riffraff.
I
Stuff
was
in
headed
trouble.
towards
Yep.
that settlement recommendation
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Just because it's going to be tucked in the mountains nicely for
I
us.
definitely want to take up some land towards Lafayette for healing.
It's always tough on these streams when you play a game where everything is so interesting that even though you know the stream is ending in 10 or 15 minutes, I want to
you're
keep
still,
playing.
yeah.
I want to see how this story
I have
comes out.
so many times had assumed I was on like a roll,
Yeah.
right? And then took my foot off the gas, stopped paying as much attention, and then just completely lost the plot. So even if I know it's ending, even if I'm still every turn I gotta focus, or else it's a good way to lose.
Absolutely.
I really want these though.
You might declare war on the wrong person or something.
Unthinkable.
Look at that.
Now, what's the point of
flowers.
having a
Oh, that
teammate
is
if
so
you're not
pretty.
gonna embroil
Very
them
pretty.
in a
You got to
war?
claim that, surely.
I gotta take
There we
that.
go. Oh dear.
Oh, well, this
now
this
it's
is
announced by Isabel.
why not? Except I don't
I
like
think
you
the
at this
AI have
point.
been a bit spicy today, haven't
They
they?
have not been our best of friends.
Oh, you
That's
didn't
really
go
self.
for being a despot. you went for quite a nice one.
Well, I thought we have food bonuses, and I just thought thematically it made sense. And then we don't even have enough policies for our. We're really not in the best position to be fighting a war against someone right next to us, and we've declared war on someone imaginary for us right now. But that's okay. It's maybe not the best idea.
All right.
We call this strategy
So have
a
we begun the
slow
war
burn.
yet, or are we waiting to
I'm gonna be-
position just a bit more?
Declaring on that next
There we
up.
go. And we
Did it. So
Well
we
done.
have completed a triumph. So this is a major triumph. First to suffer -5 war weariness in a single war. So as you can see, you put Van Bradley on a team, and he's gonna do
Gets the
great.
job
He
done.
gets the job done. Anyways.
So talk about the fact this is a minor triumph, I believe.
But give me a dedication.
Oh, no,
It
it's
must
a
be
dedication.
major. Yeah.
So it's going to give us +1 war support on all our wars for the next stage.
That's helpful. Not so great now, but this is going to be
And-
dedication.
Yeah.
So when I go to the age transition, I'm going to be able to select this as a dedication along with the other major triumphs if I've completed any more. But also, it might be worth noting, there's a couple of default ones there. So if you get to the age transition and you've completed fewer than 3 major triumphs, or you like the default options better, I think it's 5 default options. Is that around the right number? That are I find really, really powerful as well. That can be really, really helpful to choose from. But we're going to have at least this as an option to select. And based on how this game is going, I suspect we're going to want to do that. It's also a good reminder to go back to my triumphs and see if there's any other military-focused ones.
And notice since we're playing with the Trailblazer set, we had to be the very first one to achieve that.
Right.
So it was extra
speed
hard.
running, yeah.
We sped run that.
It was extra hard to be
Beneath us.
this bad.
It
and
was
I-
efficient gameplay. That's effectively what it was.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
if people were paying attention on the score screen, the number of triumphs you earn is sort of like the final tiebreaker. So we actually probably got 1 more point of score from that
Oh,
as well.
wonderful.
There you
We got to think positively. We got to be optimistic. We're hopeful on Team Sunset.
Well, let me dash that optimism by having a look at the score. And as you can see, we have found our way into second position. And that is because we are currently the scientific leaders in the amount of codices that we have accumulated, but also our wide settling has put us on the top of the military tree.
Well done.
So we're doubling up on that. Our economy is non-existent.
Yeah, well-
And culture is a thing of non-existence
Not
for
for
us,
us.
but we are British.
great.
It does matter. It does not matter. So what we're going to do is this time we're going to declare a war. Now, we took the kind time to absolutely trash our relationship with Charlemagne, which means when we declare war on him, it's an even split of war weariness.
But I've denied you the dedication.
You
No
absolutely
matter
do.
how,
No matter how much
we can never
war
take that from
how
support he
much.
I
pours
can
in
spin
there.
it as many ways as I want.
Yeah.
But we've also accumulated a little bit of influence. So I'm going to drop what we've got into the war,
Good start.
pushing it up to +2, which gives us a little bit of a combat bonus now. You very kindly have put a promotion on our commander, which means that I can unpack units without losing the movement. So as we move some of the units into the land, like our legions are going to take their time to make their way through, we're also then going to use the commander to bring these units with him. So we'll move him forward and then unpack it a little bit further forward, keeping our movement.
Very smart.
So we can do this and then keep shifting forward, keep
Now we
shifting forward.
Do you have a
and
small friend just behind us? Is that the...
We do, but we also have chariots that are reinforcing from behind. So
fantastic.
I'm thinking that it will have a field day until it realizes that we have reinforcements. And then we will run
That sounds
away.
like a great military strategy. I've got 2 slingers and a dream. 2
what you
slingers,
need.
one slinger per war, and a dream.
I think we just celebrate the economic powerhouse that is the city of Cusco.
That's right. That's
It
exactly
is.
right.
I think
It is quite the city.
it's the long. We were going for the long play
Yeah.
for sure.
This is a slow burn.
Yeah.
So we can use a coordinated attack here. We've got multiple land units stood around the town. So bam,
We really messed this up.
the double attack.
2 resources and not enough policies. Whoops.
I haven't seen that done in some time.
Yeah, no, you know what? This
That
is
is-
impressive even for me. I
That is
really.
very good. And actually, look, we can move our chariot using this reinforce function to go and just sort of put them straight
Fantastic.
into the commander, who has leveled up again. They love
Yeah,
it.
even my advisor is letting me know that it's potentially not going well. He's like, I'm not sure if you were aware, boss, but this was not a good idea.
Yeah, that triumph you got?
Yeah.
Read that a little closer.
Well, perhaps the strategy of a team game where you put your partner in a difficult position over and over and over again is not the best.
The advisor
way to play
hadn't
this game.
accounted for internal malpractice. Yeah.
Oh, look who it is. We've met each other.
long last.
At long last, we have found you.
Wait, does that mean I can get another one?
It's true.
Yes.
Is that another triumph?
Oh, you've declared war.
Oh, Isabel,
gotta be
no,
one more.
Can I?
There
No,
it is.
get out of here. I just want. Oh, what happened?
Uh-oh.
It said there were 5,
No.
I believe.
There's
Let's
one more
just go to the triumph
somewhere
screen.
that you haven't met yet. But you will find.
Oh well, I'm speedrunning my own device for a reward I didn't. Oh.
But I'm hoping
I think it's.
we can see one more turn. One more turn.
No, it does say
What's that?
5.
I think we can
Be
capture.
at war with all civilizations. in the
God, that'll be
Homelands.
an excellent,
4 out of 5.
Okay, well I gotta
Jewel
find
or
one
crown?
more. Well, to our citizens in Cusco who are enjoying the economy, awesome. To everyone else, I'm very sorry.
Beautiful.
You'll be feeding the war machine for some time, but yeah, I gotta take that land.
I think we're going to have to crown Ursa and Matt as the victors here off the scoreboard at least.
Well, why don't we take one more look at the score just to check that?
Just to be sure.
I
Just to
think
be-
my,
just to be
I think the last
I
turn for
think
me.
if we have a look at it, oh yeah, look at that, first place.
Wow. I realized.
Okay, well,
That's a surprise.
But the important thing is that you do feature on this screen, just at the
Well,
bottom.
and also
you-
we're the only one to have the 1 digit.
The 1
present.
digit, yeah.
Because we were the only one to achieve a triumph.
Yeah.
That is
There you
true.
go.
So
That is
if
true.
you're measuring purely on triumphs, you know,
Right,
we
which
stand
is-
ahead.
Our
Like,
aim is
just
actually,
accidentally how
in
I
all-
measure my Civ games.
There you go.
Right, so
in all seriousness, had we continued our attack through Bayo, the capital is actually here. So there is a triumph for first to capture a capital, so that would have been something we could do.
Yeah.
And then the military triumphs are reasonably linear in terms of once you get a bit of momentum, you can get stuck in and see what you can do.
All right, well, we are at time. We did just see the victory screen, the scores. Maybe we can pull that back up.
no, we don't need to. We absolutely do not need to.
I would love to see it.
Take a load off, guys. We got this one.
It was a close game. There was a good effort across both Team Time and Team Tested, aka Team Sunset.
That's right. See, there's some positive. There's some.
It looks
names
like
there.
the British Empire has taken the win here. Great Britain takes the win.
Congratulations.
And we have a prize as well for the winner. I think
No.
it's under the desk.
Oh wow.
Let's see. Let's see.
This is exciting.
Very, very
yes.
exciting. I'm sure this will be fun to take back on the plane.
Well, I hadn't thought about
We've
that.
just doubled your luggage.
So we have this. Oh, we have another one as well.
do.
So
Yeah, you
the,
wanna go
the
that one?
winner
Okay.
can choose which Civ 7 shadow box
Oh
they want
my
as their
Lord.
trophy.
Wow.
Which one, Ursa, is speaking to you?
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to take this one because I love the idea of watching my wife watch me try and hang it on the wall. I think that would be joy for everyone.
All right.
Perfect.
Wonderful. All right.
So
Thank
the
you
other
so much.
shadow box will go to our
wow.
second place winner.
This is
Van
beautiful.
Bradley.
Wow.
These are pretty cool.
Yeah, these are really cool.
And
Really
these, I
nice.
believe, you can buy on the Civ website as well.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Great.
Well, we're wrapping that up today. There was a lot of game left to be had, but I think we can all agree there's a lot here to explore in the 140 update when that goes live on May 19th. We've got a cool new leader coming. We've got a great new map type coming that we showed off today. A lot of balance changes. And of course, the major pillars of the Test of Time update, which are the Victories overhaul, the introduction of the Triumph system, and of course, the optionality to stay as one Civ. So we're really excited to bring these to players' hands. We are so excited to have you guys here on the stream as well. Thank you so much, Ursa and Van Bradley,
Thank
for
you.
being
Oh,
here.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you, Ed and Matt, for taking time away from developing to be here today with us as well. And also, I'm not done with the thank yous yet. I want to say thank you to our workshoppers as well. These were the players who spent time with us over the last few months, kind of, really diving into these features and helping them be the best that they could possibly be for the 140 launch. There's a lot of feedback that we got in that workshop that influenced this update. There's a lot of feedback that we got in that workshop that I think will influence updates to come. So it really had a lasting impact on what we're doing over here for Axis, and it was really huge to have that support from the community. So thank you. Speaking of community, we have a Discord. We'd love for you to come join it. It's the Civ official Discord. We also have social channels. We are publishing dev diaries and dev update videos and all sorts of things as we prep for Test of Time and all sorts of news beyond that. So please come follow us. We'd love to see you there. And thank you guys so much for watching this showcase today. You guys.
Thanks,
See you
everybody.
later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.